is it that houses within Abuja, beautiful constructed, with all the standards that are there, people are not staying there? Then we did a questionnaire, we sent it around. The response we received is that many people want to stay. Many people likes to stay. Many people don't have a decent accommodation as that of Abuja, but the problem is affordability. They cannot afford it. It is too expensive. It is far beyond the common man. When we look at ourselves, why is it that it's far beyond the common man? We did a research. Why is building beyond the common man? We discovered that 60 to 70% of cost of building is linked with construction materials. If construction materials can be made available, far lower, better, building will be made affordable to people. And we discovered that the cost of equipment just make up 10 to 50%, 15% of the cost of building. So equipment to use to build contribute just about 10 to 15% of the cost of the overall building. But the cost that really affected the cost of a building is the cost of material the building is made of. So a problem has been identified and professionals or forum was established like this to come up with solution on how buildings can be made affordable. It is a welcome development. Let's put our hands together for this wonderful group of people called Shelter 2023. They came up with this wonderful idea. Despite that the attendance is low, I feel it should not be a discouragement to them, but rather it should be like a challenge. What do we do better next time that the attendance will be better? What is it that we are not doing right today? You see, normally in life, when you discover a little bit of failure, don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as a challenge. What would I put in to make it better next time? So after commending you, I want to mention that building or shelter, as you can call it, it's a fundamental human right component that a human being should have a house. And that is the responsibility of the government of the day to ensure that houses are made affordable to its citizens. The responsibility of a government is to provide security and property, to secure your property and your life. That is a responsibility of a government. But the problem is this life, for it to be secured, it needs a system where it's protected. And that's part of the system is a decent accommodation. We have various types of building, from thatch roof to clay to estates, different categories. They are all buildings. When you see a Fulani man inside his hut, as far as he's concerned, he's inside a what? A shelter. It's a building based on its own. It has, but does it meet up the standard we are talking about? You see in the village a round hut with mud, with thatch roof. It is a shelter. But does it meet the standard we are talking about? So this forum is a welcome development. It's the forum where we are going to subject all this type of shelter with the view to coming up with what we call a standard accommodation that is affordable to all. Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute is an institute that is established to conduct research. And NIPRI has been in existence for over 45 years. All NIPRI has been doing is to carry out research with the view to make building affordable for the common man. So today we are going to brainstorm and we'll come up with a recommendation. Normally, I've been a teacher all my life. I taught in the university for 26, 27 years before moving to the research institute. As an engineering student, we did a lot of calculation when we were in school, a lot of add mass, a lot of differentiation, a lot of addition, integration, just to mention a few. Times you do this calculation, you just read to understand to pass, but you hardly implement them in life. You hardly put them into practice, but you have studied it. Today, what I want us to look at is not to look at integration or differentiation that will end up in nothing, but let's look at practical approach. What is implementable in Nigeria? You can come and tell us and compare us with US, compare us with London, compare us with France, but we want a situation that is applicable and adoptable in Nigeria. The one that is okay in terms of our weather, the one that our climate is okay, the one that our can understand and put it into practice. Give us something that we can do in Nigeria. An ideal system does not exist in Nigeria. A situation where you find ideal system outside, you are bringing it to Nigeria. Look inward. What aspect in terms of local content can we do? Normally, when you look at a building generally, a building will have different components. It has the roofing part, it has a wall, it has a window, it has a POP or ceiling, it has different materials that makes up of it. But despite these materials, we keep on complaining that the cost of building is on the high side. People cannot afford it. Now, let's look at in terms of wall. What can we do that will replace the normal wall we'll have? That will make the cost of wall to be cheaper. What do we do in terms of POP or ceiling board that is cheaper? What roofing material can we use that is cheaper? What type of floor or tiles can we use that is cheaper? The end, the idea is to bring down the cost of building for you and me to afford it. I just visited a stand before coming up here. The woman told me that a building is approachable and I can get a house. I said, how much? She couldn't tell me the money. But she told me that there is a plan that is friendly that I can key in to own a house. I'm a civil servant, maybe with a salary of 350 to 400,000 in a month. Can I afford a house that will cost 100 million? But when you visit most of these stands, this is what they're advertising. A duplex will cost 150 million in Maitama, 200 million in this. For Judas' sake, how do I own this type of building? Is it possible? Can we look inward to see how to bring out an affordable building that is you and me can afford? It challenged me. There was a time I have some few money. I said, we've been talking about theoretical aspect. What is the price of a 2-bedroom flat? How much will it be okay to construct a 2-bedroom flat without profit? Let me see. I set up a team. I gave them a plan. 2-bedroom flat. I gave them a location in government girls secondary school, Amak Ako, Airport Road, Amak Estate. I said, I want to know the cost of a 2-bedroom flat exactly. Let me have it. I dropped the sum of 2 million naira to the committee. That was 2 years ago. And the team were working. Every item they spend, they were recording it. At the end, the cost of a 2-bedroom flat, we arrived at the cost of 2.3 million exactly. 2.3 million was able to construct a 2-bedroom flat with basic items. That was in 2001, 2 years ago. 2000, yes, 2021, the year 2021. We did it. There was a record of every item one by one. 20 bags of cement. This is it. Labor for this. I said, I don't want profit. Let me see at the end how much are we arriving at. The sum of 2.3 million was arrived at the end. By then, the vice president, Osibanjo, by then, I made a memo to him with the plan to see if that can be replicated. A very friendly, basic 2-bedroom with a dining, 2-bedroom with 2 toilets, one in the master's bedroom, one to be used to serve the visitors and one of the bedroom, with a kitchen tile on the floor, not on the wall, please. But basically, we arrived at 2.3 when the price of cement was about, is it 2,800 naira by then? 2008 or 2009 per bag of cement for 50 kg of cement. But today, that is not feasible. But the idea is that I want this conference to look inward. Let's see, what can we do different? What can we bring as alternative to this material to see to it that people can afford it? It's not possible for us to have a building that is about 100 and something million for everybody to afford it. It's not possible. But can we look inward with respect to the quantity of materials that we have? We have a lot of laterites. We have a lot of agricultural waste. We have a lot of natural waste. If waste can be converted to material that is durable, material that can be used, I think we might be taking one stone to kill two birds. One, we'll be using waste as a raw material to convert it. By then, if we are using raw material from waste, we are reducing the level of pollution in the society because we are using a waste. And another thing is that we are bringing an alternative from something natural. We might end up reducing the cost of what is there. So today, I want to complete my opening remarks by appreciating these wonderful committees that looked at a way of coming up with this wonderful conference called Shelter Conference. And I believe this conference will end up with good recommendations, recommendations that are implementable, not recommendations that are abstract, not recommendations that are blueprints from America, blueprint from UK, blueprint from developed countries, and borrowing it to Nigeria. That is not our idea. Our idea is to look inward, in line with Presidential Order number 5, which stipulates that we should use local content to come up with things that are sustainable, buildings that are affordable, buildings that you and me can patronize. Once again, thank you very much. This is not the keynote address. This is just the address of the chairman of this occasion. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, another round of applause to our chairman. Yes. The Director General and CEO of the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, all the way from Abuja. You're very welcome, sir. Yes, sir. While we were listening to the opening speech by the chairman, the commissioner of the Edo State Ministry of Water Resources walked in with one of his directors. So I'd like to welcome you, sir. You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. You're very welcome. Okay. So today will be, we had to make some adjustments to the program because of a few hitches. Today we'll be taking 3 presentations, and the Director General has a huge presentation to make to us, which is research based. And you heard the way he spoke, you know that he's not answering professor for nothing. Okay. All right. So he'll be giving us a presentation, but I think we'll give him a break first. We'll call on the Millard Filler Foundation to share their experience. And the Millard Filler Foundation is a housing foundation that delivers affordable homes to Nigerians, and they've done over 1,000 homes. If you were here last year, they showed their 1 million naira house. Who would believe that there can be a house 1 million naira? Yes, they will demonstrate today. Because I'm always very elated when I invite them to speak. What they are doing is sharing their experience, not theory, what they are doing, and are providing decent homes for people that ordinarily will never have their own houses. So they are doing a great job in Nasarawa State, and we are learning from them to see how whatever is working there can be brought here also to help people have their own homes. I was amazed when I went to visit one of their estates, I think about 3 of their estates, and you had beautiful play courts, beautiful layouts, And the people that are living in them are widow, market woman, simple people that you will not think will get a house, but living in decent gated estates. Imagine what will happen to those children when they grow up. They will be seeing a great future because they are not seeing poverty and lack and slum. So that a person does not earn millions does not mean he cannot live in a decent space. So I don't know if this setup, can we have this setup? Can we present now the Millard Fuller presentation? Sir. So let's have architect Sam Odia. He's the CEO.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor to be here. I stand on existing protocols, but I recognize all the heavyweights and my lords, spiritual and temporal, here in the midst. Our chairman, thank you very much. Lovely meeting you. And I hope that when we go back to Abuja, that we'll be able to continue the conversation. I was very impressed by the fact that you were able to produce 2-bedroom with 2.3 million. We did about the same actually, because we put up a few prototypes. The studio apartment, which was the core house, was about, we're trying to get we call it the 1 million naira house. And later on, my colleague, John Urubemi, who is there with me, head of our marketing team, I hope he'll be able to speak about our experience in marketing those houses. But we were able to build 2 years ago, also 2021, when the price of cement was still fairly stable, a core house at 1.1 million. We were trying to get below 1 million naira, but we went just above it. Our 2-bedroom unit was about double the amount. And then we had another apartment where we went all out to furnish the unit. I might speak a little bit more to that as the presentation goes on. Do we have the first page? Let's have my presentation up on the board, please. Can I have the Millard Fuller Foundation presentation up, please? The cover page, just the cover page. Okay. So low-cost mass housing delivery by the Millard Fuller experience, presented by Sam Odia, CEO of the Millard Fuller Foundation. I just want to say, next page, please. I just want to say that my organization, the Millard Fuller Foundation, is named after a gentleman by the name of Millard Fuller, who founded a global non-profit housing organization. I ran the Nigeria country program for a few years, 2002 to 2005. And at that time, we were in 100 different countries around the world. Millard Fuller, the founder, interestingly, is not even a builder or an architect. He was a lawyer by profession. He died in 2009, but his story is really very interesting, and I think I'll just share it with everybody. He was a man who became a millionaire by the age of 29, an American by birth. And all his life was consumed with business and making money. Just like many of us here in Nigeria, we wake up in the morning trying to make money, and we go to sleep at night. The children are already in bed. We're up again early the following morning, and our children hardly know us. They hardly see us. We're just so busy doing business and making money. And this was the life that Millard Fuller lived when he was that young. He was married to a lovely young lady called Linda Fuller, and they had 2 children at the time. Or was it 3? I think 3 children. But he just never had time for his family. Business, business, business. Money, money, money. One day he came back from work, and, as I say, he was a millionaire. He had money. He espoused his wife, gave her a Cadillac, cars, everything she wanted, she had it. He came back home one day and saw a note saying, "Darling, I can't take it anymore. I've left." Left? I'm giving you everything. What? These Oyinbos can be very funny. You give a woman money, You give her a big house. You give her everything. What more does she want? She wants you. So she said, look, I have everything. It's true, but I don't have you. Your children don't even have you. So he went chasing after her. She traveled. She took a flight to another part of America. Is a big country. So you can take a flight that will take a very long time to get to you. But he eventually tracked her down and they spoke about it and said, look, what's the problem? He said, look, all our life is just money, money, money. It's not going anywhere. And right there and then they decided to dedicate their lives to God. He said, look, he's going to do something. He's going to give away. If this is what his money is doing for him, he's going to give it all away. And he did. He gave his $1 million wealth away to the poor and went into Christian ministry. Started working in a place in America, Georgia, called Americas, and worked there in a big sort of farm where Christians were basically living out the principles of Jesus Christ, and building houses for the poor on a zero profit, zero interest basis. They called it partnership housing, where you partner with the homeowner to build their own house. And that was the very beginning of it. 1973, 74, this happened. About 3 years later, God called him to go to DRC, the Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Zaire at that time. And he worked there for about 3 years, built, I think, about 500 or 600 houses during that period, all for the poor. And these houses were sold to these poor families at zero profit, zero interest, basically built on an old scripture where it says, do not lend money, do not lend to the poor for interest. So basically that was the basis on which he started this ministry. And it was very successful. And then after 3 years, he came back in 1976 to America and established this organization called Habitat for Humanity. And they spread all over America and began to spread to other parts of the world. They eventually came to Nigeria in 2002. And I was very blessed to have been a volunteer with them for about a year and a half when they started working in Abuja, in the Abuja area. Actually, they were working in about 3 different states. Nasarawa, Plateau states, and I think in the FCT. And I volunteered for quite a lot. And this is where I cut my teeth in affordable housing. Most of our houses at that time were rural houses. So we were working specifically in rural areas. Shendam, to be precise. Wamba in Nasarawa State. There was another place in Niger State that we also went and visited. Luvumadaki in Nasarawa State. These were the areas where we established housing programs together with poor community members. So this is a little background to myself. God called me. I believe that God called me to do this. And while it's a Christian ministry, we do not discriminate. We work for all. We believe God loves everybody he has created. And so whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Babalawo's child or whoever you are, you deserve a decent place to live. So, and that's the thrust of the ministry that we worked. So I was really blessed. Next slide, please. I was really blessed to be able to volunteer for a year and a half. And eventually I became the CEO of the national director of Habitat for Humanity. And I oversaw the country program in Nigeria. Now, a few years later, Millard Fuller left the organization he had founded and set up a new organization called the Fuller Center for Housing, also doing exactly the same thing that Habitat for Humanity did. And I was blessed to be able to leave Habitat for Humanity and start the Nigerian branch of the Fuller Center for Housing. So I'm sort of like the pioneer director, but this is an organization that goes beyond me. And when I retire, the others will come in and continue the good work. I'll tell you a little bit more about what we have done by the grace of God, but let me just go back to this. Go back to the first page, please. Go back. So MFF Housing, we have a subsidiary called MFF Housing. So we're the construction arm of the Millard Fuller Foundation, a faith-driven non-profit organization which promotes collaborative and innovative partnerships with individuals and organizations in an unrelenting quest to provide on a sustainable basis affordable housing for people in need. So partnership is very important to us, as it was to Millard. We believe that we're partnering with the people that we're working with, and we need to do this work together. Partnership also with other organizations, which is why I'm just so happy to have here the Director General of NIBRI, who I believe has a lot that they can offer us. And it would be lovely for us to be able to work together going forward, and others as well. We wish to partner with everybody. Many people come to our sites and our office, and we give them, practically all the details. And my staff often ask me that, okay, why do you give all our secrets to everybody? There's nothing that we hide. We believe the more people that are doing this, the better for Nigeria and the better for the world. So we have no secrets. We open up and we let you know what it is that we're doing. And I don't think there's anything, it's not rocket science to build affordable housing. I think the first and primary thing that we all need is a committed heart, just as the convener of this event, architect Cecilia, has. I've seen in her a committed heart, a heart that's ready to go on whether or not money, this kind of thing is a long-term thing. If at all money flows into your pocket, it could take 10 or 20 years. I've been at it for about 24 years now, building affordable housing and working in this sphere. So, God is keeping me, but I won't say that the money has started flowing into my pocket yet. So you've got to be committed to stay on it that long. So from the onset, MFF has focused on housing delivery to the lowest cadres of society. So we're not that interested in building luxury housing, even though we can. I'm an architect by profession. My wife is also an architect by profession, but we typically do not build luxury housing. We try to build housing that's really suited to the low income. And we emerged from a background of rural housing, focusing on the rural poor and transforming into a suburban developer, working in informal settlements on the outskirts of the city. At the moment, we're doing all of our work outside Abuja in Nasarawa State, which is a neighboring state. But our plan actually is to be in every nook and cranny in every state of Nigeria. Next slide. So we realized that it didn't matter how qualitative our houses were or how quickly we were going to be able to deliver if the final products were out of reach to a vast majority of our people. If they were inaffordable for most people, then we were wasting our time. And I'm so happy with what Professor Sampson has said. There's no point doing all these things if the people for whom you are doing it cannot afford it. So that's really the essence. So for 4 years, my organization, MFF, our projects were judged the most affordable in Nigeria. And since 2019, our homes were also adjudged by the Center for Affordable Housing Finance. Yesterday, we were supposed to have a presentation by Kisia Rust of the Center for Affordable Housing Finance in South Africa. They do a global research. Every year, they go to 52 countries around Africa, trying to find out the lowest cost houses produced on the continent in Africa. And ours has consistently been the most affordable in Africa. So it's not just Nigeria, but in Africa. So at that time, this house you're looking at here, it's the particular unit that they came and studied in 2019. It was a 1-bedroom unit at about $8,000, the equivalent of $8,000 at that time. Next slide. I just want to talk a little bit about the social pyramid in Nigeria. This study is a well-known study that was carried out by KPMG several years ago, and basically they divided the Nigerian society into cadres, and they said, look, 78% of Nigerians earn less than 40,000 naira. And this was about 5 years ago. I don't think our income levels have moved up that much. If anything, they have gone down further in dollar terms. So when you consider that 78% of Nigerians earn less than 40,000 naira a month, it means that 40,000 naira is higher than the median or the average income. So if you're trying to build for the average person, we need to be looking at people who are probably earning 40,000 naira a month. That's 480,000 naira a year. And it's not all of their money that they will give towards housing. So the mortgage that you should be looking at should be approximately 1/3 of 40,000 naira. So that's maybe 15,000. Let's just even say 15,000 naira a month. So if your house is costing more than 15,000 naira a month, or your mortgage rather is costing you more than 15,000 naira a month, we believe this is not really affordable housing. You know, everybody's using that term affordable housing, and really I think it has been abused. Many of the 20, 30, 40 million naira houses we see today are still described as affordable housing. But the question is, are they really affordable? So that's a quick diagram. We see that more than 4 out of every 5 people in Nigeria earns less than the minimum wage. So even this minimum wage of 30,000 naira that is touted is actually above average income in Nigeria. MFF's mandate is to create value at the bottom of the pyramid. We cannot continue to neglect 80% of our population just because, according to one of our former ministers of housing, there's no low-cost cement. So what are we supposed to do? If people with one brain, just as we have, can get their citizens on the moon, not because it is easy, but because it is hard, surely it can be harder to get our people into houses. You understand what I'm saying? Next slide, please. So according to Center for Affordable Housing Finance 2021 annual housing report, only 61% of urban dwellers in Nigeria are able to afford our incremental one-bedroom unit using locally available financing options. By our own experience, however, shows that far fewer are able to obtain the financing necessary to purchase this house. We all know how difficult it is to access mortgages in Nigeria. FMBN is everybody's dream. That's what we all want. But how many people can actually access it? They don't have all the money in the world. So building costs need to go lower still. Building costs, as our chairman has said, building costs need to go lower still. That's funny. Just when prices are going higher, we have to keep driving the price down if we really want affordable housing for everyone. So next slide. So what we really need to come up with are innovative financing solutions. The materials is one thing, but if we can't get materials at the price we need them, we need to have really, really innovative financing solutions. Really innovative financing solutions. Perhaps cross-subsidy might be an example. Finding a way to generate long-term funding. So we just need to be innovative about it. There are many drawbacks. There are many issues that are mitigating against our ability to do the needful, but we need to be creative. So this is a picture of our 1 million naira house, as we call it. It's actually 2,000. At that time, it was just a little below $2,500. Now, you know what $2,500 is at today's rate. So the price has doubled since that time. I'm sure that will be the experience too of NIBRI, that the 2.3 million naira house that they built in 2021, if they were to build it today, might be more like 4 million or 4.5. That's just the truth. So it means we have to go back to the drawing board and try and look for innovative ways. So that's it. So it's an incremental housing design that starts off as a basic starter unit for all workers, hopefully, and even school leaders. We thought, look, wouldn't it be nice for you to leave school, to finish your youth corps, you get your first job, and government provides you with this small starter pack. Just a self-contained, a studio apartment that you can expand by 2 bedrooms on your left and another 2 bedrooms on your right, at your own time, at your own pace. So that's it. John can speak more to this when he gives his own presentation. I hope he'll be able to do that. Where's Architect Cecilia? I hope you'll be able to give John a slot to speak about our experiences in the marketing sector. Yes, thank you very much. So this particular unit, by the way, was inspired by Federal Mortgage Bank's most popular product called the 1 million naira home renovation loan. This is one of their most popular products. I mean, they give more home renovation loans than they give actual house loans. You know, everybody goes for 1 million naira home renovation loan. There are many people are said to use the money for other things. I cannot verify that, but we just thought, look, if you can give a loan for 1 million naira to renovate your house, how about if people could get that same loan and start the process of home ownership? And that's what really inspired this model. So the mortgage sector requires urgent development and support to be able to play its proper role. Next slide, right. So MFF Housing, as architect Cecilia mentioned earlier, has built more than 1,000 affordable housing units and plans to deliver more than 10,000 green smart homes in the next couple of years. That's the vice president there. Go back, please. That's the vice president there dedicating our 1,000th house last year. Most of those houses in that particular estate, which was a 258 unit housing estate, financed interestingly by the Swedish government, you know, but that most of them were met EDGE standards. Yesterday, I believe we had somebody from the AIFC who came to speak to us at this conference. They sort of supervised our construction to meet EDGE standards. So the bulk of those buildings in that last estate that we built are smart and they meet EDGE standards. Going forward, all of our buildings will meet EDGE standards. We're focused now on creating smart, energy efficient houses. So next slide. We also do a lot of training. We train artisans at MFF. So you can see there that we've trained more than 253 youths in construction skills in the last 4 years. It's a major part of what we do. The German agency GIZ sponsored quite a number of trainings several years ago in our organization and was able to equip our studios with quite a lot of equipment that we use on a regular basis to train young people in masonry skills, in carpentry skills, electrical skills, ironmongery, iron bending, and so forth. So we do quite a lot of training. Next slide. So we continue to be at the vanguard of job creation and skills development with a deliberate policy to encourage women. We want to encourage more women in the construction field. Gone are the days when they say, no, building is a man's job. Gone are the days. It's for both men and women. Next slide. So we work with partners, and many of the partners who have helped us on our way are listed there. Our main partner, as I said to you earlier, we are the local affiliate of the Fuller Center for Housing, which was founded by Millard Fuller himself in America, the Fuller Center for Housing. We are the Fuller Center for Housing in Nigeria. We couldn't register that name, so the name that we registered that was accepted by CAC was the Millard Fuller Foundation. So we work quite closely with them. We work very closely too with another organization in the UK called REAL. They used to be the Homeless International. They became Real a few years ago, but they also fund most of the projects that we do at present. We have another organization based in Belgium called Celavip. You can Google all these names, celavipinternational.org. They also build very low-income houses for the poor in Latin America and in Africa. Real is building with about 18 or 19 partners, both also in Asia and in America. I'm sorry, in Asia and in Africa. The German development agency GIZ also has, as I've mentioned, has partnered with us, particularly in skills development. And then Family Homes Funds, we have worked with them over the last few years. They have funded one major project, and they've also sort of been involved in other projects since then. So partnership is really very, very important to us. Thank you. Next slide. That's our family. Mrs. Oyewale, yes. So that's her, one of our homeowners in the Saturday project. This picture was taken many years ago. All those two little boys you see are about 6 feet 2 inches tall now. So next slide. Next slide. So we were talking about the most affordable house in Africa. So how did we do it? So we typically locate estates where land is cheap. So many people are against that. They feel that affordable housing should be close to the city centers. But look, how do you overcome, unless government is ready to donate prime land to you, which as far as I know, government never does. Government never does. So unless government is ready to do that, or people are just ready to donate to you to do that, we have only one choice, and that is to go to the outskirts of the city, which is what we did. So the economies of scale also are important. So typically we will be constructing at least 250 units in a go, possibly up to 500 units. So the units are very small. Our units are small in size, very compact, beginning from 25 square meters to about 70 square meters, typically. One of the things I learned when I was working with Habitat for Humanity is that what ordinary Nigerians require is really not that much. Is really not that much. I believe it was ex-president Obasanjo who wrote a book called The Beast Called Man or something. There was a book he wrote about his prison experiences. And he realized when he was in prison that to survive and to stay healthy, it doesn't take cornflakes and Rice Krispies and bacon and egg and all the things that we like to eat. Basic things are sufficient. And at that level in society, what people are asking for is basically a very basic, simple, decent, and affordable home. The embellishments can come later, but what we need to start off with is something very simple, very decent, and very affordable. So that's what we try and deliver. Our houses are semi-detached bungalows. So because of the partitioning wall, we can share between apartments. So we save money on that parting wall. And then we have a very efficient project management team. Our projects are really executed with military precision. We have about 3 professional PMPs in-house. So project management is very key to us. Then reduced overheads and profit margins. Many times what kills a project is just the overheads. That big popper called CEO and the directors, you big peoples, directors, all you big people sitting in front. We are the ones who often kill projects. So we have to find a way of ensuring that overheads are brought down low for the sake of what we're trying to achieve. So next slide. So in summary, we have built 1,031 houses to date. Our projects have been adjudged the most affordable in Nigeria since 2016, and since 2019, Our one-bedroom unit was acclaimed by CAF to be the most affordable house built by a private developer on the African continent. So MFF is currently developing 1 million. We've already finished that. We showed you pictures of that house. And over the last 5 years, we have built more than 650 affordable housing units. So we have also trained more than 253 youths in construction skills. So we continue to be at the vanguard of job creation and skills development with a deliberate policy to encourage women. Next slide. So MFF Housing Limited and the Millet Fuller Foundation seek to extend their know-how and experience also to Edo State. It's a pity that we don't have the government representatives here, and we would like to partner with these people. For me, it's coming back home. I'm an Edo man from Ozala, actually, Inowa West local government. And I'm a Lagos boy, though. So, like many of us, we grew up outside home. And so it's time to come back. And we would like to partner with the people of Edo and the government to provide truly affordable housing to our people here in the state. Next slide. So that's one of our estates. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'll take a few questions here.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Please, another round of applause for him. Thank you. Okay. Would like to take the questions together. So I'll call that everyone should just take notes. Whatever questions come to your mind, just put it down so we can take the questions together with the panel. I'd like to welcome architect Monica Iribogbe from the University of Benin Teaching Hospital. Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate your coming. Thank you. I also like to crave the indulgence of the Commissioner of Works to please stay a little longer with us. I know your time is very precious, but I'm saying it because I need a little more of your time. Commissioner of Water Resources, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Please, I know your time is very critical, but I'd like you to spend a little more time with us. I hope I'm not asking for too much, sir. So I'd like to invite the DG over now to make the presentation from the Nigerian Institute of Building and Road Research Institute. Thank you.
Let me start by appreciating the Commissioner for Water Resources for gladly accepting the request of our own architect, Cecilia, to stay longer than the time he has come. Let's put our hands together for him. So, Commissioner, when we see you, we feel at home. We feel that the government is still with us. We are thinking that we are only speaking to ourselves. But seeing you coming, it tells us that at least to some extent we are covered. When we talk, you will take the message to His Excellency. Once again, I'm back to present my paper. I will try to be brief as possible because I don't want to keep the commissioner waiting. But what I believe is that after the entire scenario, I believe the commissioner will key into a project. He's in water resources, quite all right, but he needs a house for his staff in water resources to stay. Without a house, there won't be water. No be so? That's the situation. So thank you very much. Can I have my slide on the screen? Wow, thank you very much. I don't know, Commissioner, you are staying beside. I wish you are facing the screen very well so that you follow as the presentation is going on. Can you follow from there? Oh, it's all right. This is just next slide, please. No, go back, please. Let me talk about the first. Yes, I'm speaking as the keynote speaker at Shelter Conference 2023. And basically, it has the theme affording housing. Affording housing. Is it affordable? That's the question. Affordable housing. Is it affordable? Can you purchase it? Can you own it? Or is it just a mirage? A mirage is that when you see something at a far, you might be thinking you can grab it, but it's beyond you. But what we are trying to do today is to make it available for people to buy it, for people to own it, for people to use it. Next slide, please. The entire presentation will have an outline like this. It has some basic introduction. Then it looks at some of the normal conventional building materials we have. We look at the natural available materials that are available. Then we'll look at what NIBRI was able to do to look at different materials that NIBRI is not a mirage. We went to the lab, we did it, and it's still available. Then we'll look at those things that NIBRI was able to do with respect to trying their own in their own simple way to reduce the cost of building, making it affordable for everybody. Then look at the challenges that we are facing. Despite that these things are available, then we can have conclusion and recommendation. Next. This is just a simple story trying to tell us the importance of a building. We said apart from food, the next important thing is building, which is shelter. We all know that the society emphasizes on building. And if you have a building, it shows the class of person you have in Nigeria. There will be someone who will tell you that the type of building denotes who you are. I know someone that I know very well. He cannot visit his village. And the reason for not visiting his village is that he does not have a building in the village. He will stay in the town and do everything. Anytime he visits the village, he must come back. He will not sleep there. And the reason for him not sleeping, because there is no building he can call his own. So you can see building denotes culture. Building denotes who you are. It tells you the type of class you are in the society with the type of building. Despite that building exists, and if you look at a building, it is constructed from materials. And despite the available of materials we have, the cost of building continue to go up. Why? And that is that. The idea is that where you have a normal conventional building materials, let's look at the possibility of coming up with what we call an alternative building material. An alternative building material, we are told it is friendly, it is available, you can use it to replace the normal conventional one. Next. These are buildings. I tried to give a picture. The shelter, quite all right. But if I give a choice, make your choice out of this available one. Nobody will go to the down one. Nobody will go to the down middle one. But these are available shelters that are in use in Nigeria. The one looks beautiful at the left one. The one is a shelter, but people, the big men now, they try to emulate it by being a show. You can put it as part of their own house. They go in, take it as a recreation center, and they live. And it's very nice. This is a mud house. This is also a mud house. But this building, which one meet up the standard requirement of a building? For a building to be accepted, there must be a standard requirement that it meets up. If not, what you are talking about is not a building. The middle one and this one does not meet the requirement because every walling material has a requirement that meets up the standard. Every roofing material has a requirement that meets up the standard. For the material to be accepted, the material must meet up the standard for building regulation. Next. We are blessed as a country. We are endowed with quite a lot of different construction materials, and they are existing. But the idea is that these materials are not being utilized. They are existing, but its utilization is almost far, far below 50%. We are meant to understand that building materials are one of the main components of building. As I mentioned earlier, 70 to 80% of the cost of building is related to the material the building is made of. Which is why a building exists, but what makes up the cost is the material that is inside. I want my material to be imported. Standard. When someone enters the house, they know that I have money. And that is the class. Building can be made with simple material and it can be made with high. But the idea is that we Nigerians, we have a way of dichotomy in terms of class. And that class comes in form of a building. Someone will tell you that the best way to know someone that has money is to look at the type of his building. True or false? When you see a politician house and when you see a house of an academician, not that they don't have taste, they do have. But what differentiates them is the what? The quality, the material the building is made of. So building plus a class. Building can serve as a tourist center. People can take a visit. Please go to that place. You'll see how beautiful that house is. People will visit that. The idea is to taking pictures. They are taking pictures because the building is so beautiful. And what makes up the beautifulity of the building is the material the building is made of. A material that is high in class goes to tell you that the cost of the building is what? Very high, in line with that. Despite that, NIBRI has come up with different research. The idea is that we are trying to work towards ensuring that the cost of building is affordable. And that is why NIBRI carried out research and championed that research so that this material can be adopted in the production of mass building. Next. We are meant to understand that building is deficient. Many people cannot afford it. As I mentioned earlier, how I wish there would be a law. Go to Abuja Metropole. 60% of those estates are empty. Go to the estate, empty. I'm telling you, empty. Nobody is there. And those buildings has been there for the past 5-6 years. And government are busy watching them. Can't you teach those buildings so that this building must be given out? Maybe the price tagged on those buildings, nobody can afford it. And the people are not even complaining. The building is there, the generator will be run in the day, and so on and so forth. Nobody can occupy it. Nobody can afford it. Nobody is talking. Nobody can go there and grab it. Go to Gado Estate, there are quite a lot of empty houses. But somebody will travel 2-3 hours outskirts, and that is where he's staying. Whereas there is accommodation in town, he cannot what? He cannot afford it. Why? Because of construction materials. Next. This is an idea of someone in a slum. They are trying to look for a way forward. You can see it is a school. These are water around. They created something out of slum to create a building to teach. Look at this. These are not fictitious pictures that is painted. This is a live picture existing in Nigeria. Humanizing. But one person in Nigeria, one, at billions of dollars and naira, that we can transform this to become a forgotten issue. But look at how slum this area is. Next. Affordable building. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. So this paper that I'm presenting today will highlight some of the conventional materials as well as alternative materials and technology developed by NIBRI, which when put in place, it can work towards drastically reducing the cost of building in Nigeria. Next. Next, there's nothing much here. Yes, let's start with the simple one called the normal conventional materials. There are various types of materials that we have. But the simple ones today are cement, steel, fine aggregate, quartz, steel, just to mention a few. Each of these material is unique in its weight, unique in its strength, unique in durability, and unique in its cost. How you mix this material matters a lot. But these are normal materials or normal conventional materials that we have. Let me talk about steel. The quantum differences that have been observed in the prices of steel from Y12, Y16, Y20, it is almost 200% or 250% increase as compared to the price of last 2 years. Who have an idea of a price of Y16 in the market? Who has idea of Y20? The Honorable Commissioner, take a visit to the market. Steel is very, very important in building, especially if your building is called reinforced concrete. Reinforced concrete simply means concrete and steel mixed together. Reinforcement simply means it's a concrete that cannot be able to carry the load. It needs support in form of steel. To reinforce the concrete, concrete is weak in tension, but good in compression. Steel is bad in compression, but good in tension. The two properties are mixed together. They serve as one material called reinforced concrete. So the cost of steel is alarming. Let me talk about a little bit of steel. I'm not going to scare you. We have a very big machine in Nibri called UTM. It is called Universal Testing Machine, UTM. The properties of steel today is at alarming. 60 to 70 of the steel properties are failing in Nigeria. Why? Because the raw materials used in producing steel, they are using accident recycled vehicle to produce this. So the tensile properties of steel and other materials are in doubt, are questionable. We have done that test and the result is there. Very soon, I want to make a public announcement so that I'll draw the attention of Standard Organization of Nigeria so that they will be on the watch out with respect to the quality of steel sold in Nigerian market. Steel cement. Last 2 years, the price of cement is about 2.8 thousand, 2,800. But today, the cost of cement is 5,200 somewhere, 5,400 somewhere, 5,000 somewhere. You can, in Benin, is how much? So you can see, these are what we call normal conventional materials. And we don't know where the prices is going. The Minister for Works has come up with a mindset of going into rigid pavement instead of using flexible pavement in our road construction. He's saying that all Nigeria roads, he wants to lift the use of asphalt. He wants to shift from asphalt to concrete roads. That has been what he has been agitating. And that alone, there will be a quantum jump as far as cement is concerned. I'm telling you very soon. So with this, a problem has been established already. Now the cement factories now are saying there is no diesel. The cost of diesel and power is linked directly to the cost of production of cement. And if there is overproduction of cement to meet up the demand, the price must go up in line with the factors affecting the production. My commissioner, let us burden up ourselves. A lot of problem is coming up because these factors I'm saying as the materials, they will never be stagnant alone. They will continue to go up because of what we are envisaging. Next, please. These are other materials that are naturally there. Ceramic, timber, glass, plastics are natural conventional materials. We use them in our building. But if we can have a shift from these normal conventional materials to an alternative material that is cheaper, we are saying we are working towards drastically reducing the cost of building. Next. Now, let me go through an x-ray of different materials that researchers have worked on. There are quite a lot of journals to tell us that they have worked on and the material can be used to produce an alternative material. This one is agricultural waste called rice. Rice, we have the husk and the straw. These two are waste. The husk can be used when you burn the husk. What you have is an ash. And this ash can be referred to as a pozzolanic material. A pozzolanic material is a material that is not cementitious alone, but when you combine with cement, it behaves like a cementitious material. You can mix it in a ratio of 70-30, using 70 bags of cement and 30 bags of the pozzolana. So if you use it instead of using 100% bag of cement, you are using a waste of 30% and a cement of 70. When you mix it, you get a material that is durable, functional, just like cement. So we were able to produce blocks, and you can see the production in terms of the quantity of rice produced in Nigeria is about 8.34 million metric tons. And there's no location in Nigeria they don't cultivate rice. After taking the paddy rice, the other things, we can convert them to useful material. Next. These are waste, glass and plastics. They are waste. We're able to convert them very well to construction material, and they are existing. Glass is recycled. Waste is recycled as block insulating material. Glass as an aggregate. We're able to use it, and it is there. The volumes are there to see. Next material. These are jute fibers and silica fumes. Jute fibers are obtained from plants. In the north, they call it rama. People produce and make soup with it. The fibers are there. We can use it to produce bags, and we can use it as material for POP. Instead of importing this POP material, this fiber, we can clear it, and it becomes material that we can use in Nigeria. And it has been there. Silica foams are obtained from production of steel. You can see they produce this. Part of it is to use it as a pozzolana in the production. Next. Fly ash and blast furnace slag. Fly ash is a byproduct of coal. Nigeria produces a lot of coal in Enugu. But the idea is that we have shifted from coal-generated plants to thermal plant and hydro. And up to today in South Africa, people are using coal to generate electricity. This waste that you get after burning coal is called fly ash. And this fly ash, we can use it as supplement in cement production. It is a waste, you can throw it away, but we can recycle it and convert it into a normal conventional building material. This one is produced from steel. Steel are produced almost Delta Steel, Ajaokuta, Jos, Katsina, and Osogbo, all are producing this. These are wastes to get it from there. When you grind them, it becomes pozzolanic material. Next. Let me not buttress you with time. Empty cup ash, maize. This maize, when you remove the maize from it, the cup is used. The timber waste, we can also convert them as construction material. Next. Rubber chrome. This is what we use. Yesterday, I was watching the television. Customs are busy burning tires. These tires are waste, we agree. But we can cut them and recycle them instead of burning them. Is that the best way to discard the tires? Tires are raw materials. How many volumes of waste tires do we have? Used tires, fake tires. Let's cut them into crumbs. We can use this as a raw material for the production of something. Then you see custom putting fire, burning them, causing pollution in the atmosphere. How I wish we can educate them by saying, cut these tires, give it out as raw material. People can recycle them to something better as far as construction is concerned. When there is collapse of building, waste from it, like recycled concrete aggregate, we can break them. Before, let me tell you, for instance, this mass macadam, this asphalt before, when they are removing it, they cut it and go and throw it somewhere. We made a submission. We said, put it back to the system of production of asphalt. Come back and relay it. That's what is happening now in Abuja, Kano Road. When they scrape the surface of the asphalt, instead of taking them to throw them somewhere, we put them back to the asphalt plant. Mix it together. It becomes raw material for the production of what? Of asphalt. Then they reapply it. It is called recycled aggregate, recycled asphalt. It can also be used. Next, this granite and bagasse fiber. This one is sugarcane. All these are waste, but we can recycle them to construction material. Next, reeds and bamboo is very, very important. I don't know if Benin, you have a lot of bamboo in this area. Tell you what bamboo is done. We have done quite a lot with bamboo. Bamboo is big money. Bamboo is wealth in disguise. These are materials that are existing. Next. Purpose like corridors is there. These are always. Next. Nut shell, coconut lumber. Next. Fine. We're able to look at all these items. Some are industrial waste. Some are agricultural waste. Some are waste that we don't need them. They increase the level of pollution in the society. If we can use this waste basically to recycle them to something useful, I believe instead of using a normal conventional material, because you are using a material that the raw material is waste. It will be friendly as far as the volume is much, and the cost of building will reduce because this will not be as expensive as the normal one because we are getting it from a material that is very low in terms of cost. No, take it back. There's something I want us to know. Before we use this material that is mentioned, there are some fundamental things we need to ask ourselves. The first thing, is the material available? Yes, it is available. Is it sustainable in terms of the quantity? If today I cut it, tomorrow, will it disappear? Or is still there? Yes, it is there. Is the material durable? Some might not say it's durable, but once it is recycled to something better or processed, it becomes durable. Next, is it expensive? No, as compared to the normal one, it might not be expensive because the raw material is what? It's available. Now, the next thing is what of the technical know-how? Can we teach people to do it? Can people learn from it? Is this something that can be adopted? Why not? Technical know-how is not a rocket science. It is something you and me can learn. Even a semi-illiterate person, once subjected to simple training, he will have something to do with it. So what have we been doing in Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute? What have we contributed as far as trying to reduce the cost of building? NIBRI was able to do quite a lot of areas. I'll just use 5 to 10 minutes to rush what we have done for people to see. Let's look at it first. Next. The first we did was Pozzolana. I've spoken about Pozzolana very, very well. We have office in Ota, opposite the Covenant University, and we have an office in Jos, in Bokos precisely. These are two plants we have developed. That of Ota, we use agricultural waste and clay to produce it, while that of Jos, we use scoria. Scoria is that perforated stones. Can you still remember stones that people used to clean their legs? That stone that is lighter. It has perforations. It is called scoria. It is obtained from a byproduct of volcanic emission. In Plateau State, they exist in Kerian Mangu local government. You see them in form of, you go there and pack them. What we did was I sent a team to go there and pack them. People were just looking at us when we are packing them. The next 2 days, I sent teams to pack them. They allow us. I said to go and pack them, they blocked the place. So something must be going on. They asked us, what are we using it for? We said, no, we want to use it. They said, no, we won't allow you to pack this. That this thing is behind our house, it's in our local government, and we have not been using it. You people should tell us this thing must be relevant and important for you. But at last, I spoke to one of the important person there. He allowed us to pack them. But the idea is that we use it to produce cement. No, pozzolana. And this pozzolana, we can use it as supplement for cement. You know, the problem with cement is that it has no alternative. Had it been cement, I always give an analogy like Maggi. If the price of Maggi goes up, I can go to No. Not be so. If price of No goes up, I go to Royco. If price of Royco goes up, I might go to Dawadewa. And there is one advert that the woman is doing it, the food will be going up on telly. What do you call that? They call it Terry or what? Terra. So where am I heading to? If you have an alternative, you will not enjoy monopoly. The price of things will surely go in line. But if you continue to enjoy monopoly, there is no alternative. The prices will continue to. Now, for now, cement has no alternative. It is either cement or nothing. So if we can come up with a pozzolana where cement price can drastically come down, I want to assure you that people producing cement will not enjoy that monopoly they are talking about. Next. This is the plant. Initially, the technology, we got it from China, but we came back to do what we call reverse engineering. We fabricated components of this machine using our own technology from our local content, Nigerian man-made. And these factories are existing. You see, the good thing is that when we do things, we don't have the capacity to have it in commercial quantity. We cannot commercialize it. Then I received a phone call that people from Lafarge came to visit our Pozzolana plant. I was so happy. I said, a cement factory has come for us to partner. I welcomed them. I told my director in Ota, please welcome them and give them the best treatment you can. Discuss with them. Then they said they want to go and see the Pozzolana plant. They went, saw it. Then they said they are coming back. Then later on, I received a phone call that these people came. They said they should open the place for them. They want to snap some pictures and do. You can see they came to steal our technology for them to go with it again. I said, no, I don't want to see them. This is not the partnership that I want. I thought there are people that come, let's sit down on the table and discuss the technology behind it. But they came to steal our technology because they feel we have started making noise and they feel we are existing as a threat. So this is a pozzolana that is, I'm telling you, it has a clean where you can bond it and very good, you end up getting a good product. Next, you can see these are houses built with the pozzolana. We didn't use cement, we just made cement small with the pozzolana, and you can see quite a lot of things came up from it. Next. The other thing that we have done quite all right, we discovered that the walling components of most of Nigerian building is constructed with concrete blocks. And concrete blocks is basically cement and sand with water. And the cost of cement keep on going. We discovered that we have quite abundance of laterite around. There is no village you go, there is no laterite. Even the mud houses that we inherited from our forefathers were constructed from laterite. I say if we can construct blocks with laterite with small quantity of cement, the cost of production of walling unit will go down. We came up with what we call compressed art blocks. Initially, we had a partner with Hydroform from South Africa. Then we said, no, we cannot continue to rely on another country. We said, give us knockout parts so that we can assemble. And gradually we said, no. As of today, we fabricate our machines ourselves in Nibri. And those machines is what we are using to produce these laterite blocks as of today. Let's see what is there. Next, compressed art blocks. You can see this machine, which is from Hydroform. This is what we fabricated as. And we have even improved on this fabrication as of today. Next. You can see all these buildings beautifully made. I'm telling you. This one is built. This one is in Tafawa Balewa University. This one is in Abuja. These are all existing. But the good thing about these compressed art blocks, which I have tested, is that during cold weather, when you go in, it is warmer. During warm weather, when you go in, it's cooler. It regulates the temperature around it. And the technology of it is very simple. An illiterate person, when you teach him, he knows how to operate it. He knows how to produce these blocks. He knows how to cure them. And you don't use cement again in joining them. What you do is just lock them. There are keys inside, there are grooves. You just lock them. Yes. And if you want to deconstruct them, you want to remove it, you want to demolish them, you can remove your property JJ without destruction. And you keep it and you take it elsewhere to use. Next, we have come up with bamboo. We call laminated bamboo. We took this bamboo, polish it. We added one or two things. I don't want to tell you what we added. But the idea is that we came up with bamboo panels. It is called bamboo laminated panels. You can see how beautiful it is looked. It can be used as a ceiling material. It can be used as a walling material. It can be used as a flooring material. It's purely bamboo. There's no things about it. It is not a rocket science. We have a machine that compresses it. We put gum and some few things. We polish it and it became a wonderful material. So you can see how beautiful this one is, purely from bamboo. Next. Here we look at steel. Steel has been an issue. What do we do to replace steel? We said, let's make an effort. I know bamboo cannot replace steel, but let's see where the load is not much. Let's see where we can replace main reinforcement with bamboo. Instead of taking the main reinforcement Y16, we use bamboo. Then the stirrups, we use steel. All is working towards reducing it. But the bamboo, we treated the bamboo so that ants and others will not make it to decay. We were able to construct a story building using bamboo, replacing steel. Let's look at how we did it. And the building is standing in water. Let's see the pictures of what we did. Wait, you can see this is how we use it to treat the bamboo. And look at it, the bamboo, this instead of steel inside, they are all bamboos. Next picture, please, for people to see. You can see bamboo are inside. Only the stirrups were made from steel, but the main reinforcement are bamboo. Next, look at it, even the slabs. The main beams that carries them might be steel, but the idea is that we want to reduce the dependency on steel. And we were able to use bamboo to replace reinforcement in steel. And it has been wonderful. This is a building standing, a story building with most of the steel components replaced and used by bamboo. And it's still there in Otta for everybody to go and see. It's not a rocket science, we're able to do it. Next. Here we came up with waste of plastics. This has been there. People have been doing this bottled water you throw around, and so on and so forth, and leather polythene bags. We sorted them out. Black different color, white different color, and so on. We wash them, burn them, mix it with laterite, and we produce blocks. And these blocks, we can use it in waterlogged area. We can use it to reduce dampness on building, where the water suction or capillary actions of water goes up to the wall. This one, there's leather. It blocks water from going up. It has quite a lot of advantages. They are material from waste. It is not expensive because the raw materials are available. Very small percentage of cement with sand or laterite and plastic waste. As when we mix them at regulated temperature, we got this type of waste material. Next, you can see this is machine. We fabricated this machine ourselves in Nibri so that we can produce these blocks that we were able to produce. Next, this is what we call interlocking paving stones. Normally, we use it for our roads. For instance, roads in estates where the traffic is not much. All we need to do after the laterite work, instead of using asphalt that is highly expensive, we can put interlocking and caps, and it becomes motorable. And it reduces the cost of construction. The paving stones are there. We fabricated the machines ourselves. And almost all the roads, we made it a law in Nibri. All the roads that are in Nibri, we don't use asphalt. What we use are paving stones on it for people to see. When you come from the gate to our offices, it is a technology we have done. No asphalt. We use paving stones as wearing surface where the traffic load can move. And it has been there. Next. Here is pedestrian roller compactor. We discovered that 15% of the cost of building is linked to equipment because the equipment are imported. They are highly expensive. If equipment can be made available, the cost of road will drastically reduce. In road construction, what is making the cost of road to go up is the cost of equipment. While in building is material, most that's also a problem. So we discovered that if we can bring out a fabricated roller compactor, it can go a long way to do that, especially to people where a community. We were able to do this somewhere, a community in Ogun State. They came, we gave them machine, and they were so happy. We brought lateral, we pour, and they were using it, they were singing, and the road become motorable. It might not be for high traffic roads, but it can become an access road that linked to agricultural, to a farm where agricultural products can be conveyed easily, and so on and so forth. We can still use it in estate, in rural areas, especially in your own house when you are producing. Access road is a problem. We can compact this, use our compacting roller to do it because it is fabricated locally. Next. Another area Nibri is not left out is in terms of tiles. This is fancy tiles. Normally, I'm telling you, take a visit to people selling tiles. They will tell you that this is imported tiles. This is vitrified tiles. This is tiles for the class. If you enter this house with these tiles, they will tell you who you are. So what beautify a house, 80% of the cost of building is safe. It is on tiles. Because tiles is something else. But the actual function of a tile, basically, number one, is to reduce moisture in building. Because water cannot pass through tiles. But because it is the face that people see, it carries the entire glory. The cost of tiles, they'll give you the impression the cost of tiles matters. Without the tiles, you don't go for high cost of tiles. Your building is not good. It's not the idea. The idea is to ensure that water and dampness do not go up. So Nibrick has come up with fancy tiles. These tiles can be outside, externally, from the substructure. You can put your tiles all around, and it looks beautiful on the building. But the idea is that it will block moisture from going up, like this dampness you see on the wall, and so on and so forth. Next, roof is not left behind. Nibri came up with what we call Mado tiles, named after our first DG. And the tiles is still there. But when I came up, I discovered that the tiles is so heavy because for the building to carry the weight is much. At present, I told them to carry out research to see how we can reduce the self weight. And if the weight is reduced, it will go a long way to help us in the roofing. We are still working on the plastic to be used as roofing material and the concrete to be used as roofing material. All this Nipri is working on it, but the metal tiles has been there. But the problem we discover is the issue of weight. We are trying to work towards it. Next. This is one area that I want to draw the attention of the Commissioner of Water Resources. It is called Nipri Dismantable House. You know, cost of land is the problem. Land is a problem. They want a situation whereby I can borrow your land, build on top. If you want your land back, I can move my house somewhere. So the idea is that Nipri Dismantable House, we have done it. Can you give us next slide? Next slide. Next slide so that we'll see the building. Look at it very well. It is framed from steel. It's a technology we have invented. Straight from steel, you can see them. People that were privileged to have visited Eagle Square during Science and Tech Expo, we did this one is still standing. This one is in Eagle Square where the parade ground is. We built all this. You can see this is Secretariat. Can you see Secretariat? They are all built there, but it is from frame structure. Everything is still framed. We put our items there. And the building is very fast. 3 months construction, we built in 5 days. And immediately after that, we demolish in 1 day and take it somewhere. Dismantable house. You can see it's a story building there. But the good thing about this dismantable house is that we have moved the story building to NASDA. It is now presently hosting the Science and Tech Television in Abuja. There, you can borrow somebody's land, build your house, stay there, 3-bedroom, a story building. When the man wants his land back, you can come take a day or two, dismantle your property. You move your building somewhere and erect it somewhere with no problem, with no item getting spoiled, with no item getting destroyed. Everything will be JJ the way it is. And it's called Nipri Dismantable House. Next, we have discovered one deposit. Sorry, we are talking about houses, but you must look for a road that will take you to the house. Can you build a house without road? So we have to talk about this. This is an invention we have gotten from Ondo. It is called natural tar sand. You agree with me that our refineries are not working in this country, where we are expected to get bitumen from crude oil. We are importing petroleum product. All our refineries are not working. So all the products that come from the crude are what? Are imported. So we came up with a natural deposit called natural tar sand. This natural deposit, after studying, we discovered that it behaves like bitumen. Very nice. It has some bitumen components in there. We started by applying it in patching of our asphalt roads. Let's see the other picture. Next. We patch our road with it. And after 2 years, 2 rainy seasons, The results is promising and it is good. Then we said, let's take a step further and construct a virgin road using the natural tar sand. As I'm talking to you, the road has been constructed. This is the first rainy season on the road. I've not visited the place, but next year I'll visit there to see. It is promising. It is natural deposit of tar sand that has bitumen on it. In Ondo, when we take it, we can use it to construct our roads in our estate where the traffic is not much. I don't know. Am I communicating? Next. Here is one problem that we face. Sorry, I'm a professor of civil engineering. I design a building. I'm a structural engineer. For you to start designing a building, the first thing you need is a design from an architect. He will give you a brief. Architect will ask you a brief from the client, and at the end, a drawing will come from it. If it's a story building or 2 or 3-story building, the first question the person will ask you is, where is the location? What is the soil bearing capacity? Soil bearing capacity means what is the strength of the soil in the Neman language? Because this is the value you use to design your foundation. Somebody in Lagos, as a designer, given a building in Sokoto or Maiduguri to design, he will just sit down and assume a value and he start designing without going to carry out a test. These are some of the factors we have identified that led to building collapse because we have done quite a lot. To guide against that, NIBRI decided to do what we call atlas mapping. We went around each state to take physically the soil, carried out some tests in the lab to get some information in almost all the states in Nigeria. After getting those information, we produce what we call a map from the result we got under what we call NIBRI Atlas map. With this map, when a building is given to you to design, with this map, you will have an idea of the type of soil. So that even if you are predicting or you are estimating, you are going to estimate within the range of the property of soil that you have. So that Atlas map is there. Can you look at next picture? You can see different. It has a footnote. This is a map of which part of the country is this? From northeast is half. Can you see? This is part of northeast, like this cut half. We have done all. We are about to finish south. I think we have done that of Benin already. Very soon it will be captured in form of a map. So if the map atlas is done and is available, you as a designer, you need not to basically go there. You have an idea based on the information that has been done. It's captured it in form of an atlas map, the type of property of soil you are going there. Even if you are going to build as a developer, with this atlas map, it gives you an idea of the type of soil you'll be expecting. Because we're able to go around Nigeria, we capture it zone by zone to give us a representation of what we're able to do. Next, these are some of the maps we did. This is like the south. This is the east. Challenges now. We have done this in NIBRI. Why is it that up to today, our own technology is not being adopted? Why is it up to today, people are not saying, NIBRI have done well, take this? Is it that we are not talking? Most conferences like this, I take my time to come to explain what NIBRI has been doing, to sell NIBRI out, to see if investors can come. Let us partner together. So, but one area we have discovered is government policy. There was a time I wrote a memo to my minister to be presented in FEC. I went to FEC myself to see if a policy would come from the government to adopt the fact that all primary schools in Nigeria should be constructed using compressed earth blocks fabricated by NIBRI. It has this, we brought good advantage of it. And along the line, the memo was never even presented in FEC. So you can see if there will be a policy to say everybody key into such idea, NIBRI will be there, people will come, will continue to put in our best. The machines to be there will be fabricated, and so on and so forth. We'll be teaching people on how to produce blocks. Jobs will be made available, and so on and so forth. The other thing is acceptability. People talk about class. When a building is affordable, something is common. You have it. You will have it. Someone that is comfortable. Do you think he is going to key in with you? Say, no, 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 no. I can't be the same class with this person. How can I be in the same class? He's using this type uh, of house. Look at the type of window he's using. No, I want something unique. Nigerians are very good in showing test and class. I don't know where this test and class will take us to. I don't know what advantage it has. Test and class, does it give you an edge over somebody? Does it make your life look longer than the person? People that are going after babes, do babes go for test and class better than the other? They do. Thank you. So you can see, if you look at it from all aspects, you discover that people prefer class. I don't know why. And the class comes with a cost. Durability. Is this material durable? Some are, some are not. But that does not mean that the one that is not cannot compete with the other one when processed properly. Lack of technical know-how. When technology is new, for people to accept it is very difficult. Let me just go with what I'm used to. Let me use what I'm this. They'll say, please use this one. This one is new. So no, okay, give me Panadol now. Panadol I want. Say this one is new in the market. This one they say, no, okay, just give me the Panadol. They say if it is not Panadol, it is not the same as. So people stick to what they know. Accepting change is a problem, and so on and so forth. High maintenance, fine. Some might have, some might not. But until when you give a trial, before you know. Next, these are some of the challenges. In conclusion, alternative techniques are excellent strategies to solving affordable building problems. And I believe alternative building material should be considered. Once considered, the cost of building will go down. Adopting new innovation material in the industry will lead to efficiency in the construction operations, and even the technical know-how will be improved. NIBRI developed alternative building material and technology that are particularly suited for Nigerian weather, with significant dearth of housing due to huge housing deficit. It will lead to the production of more housing in less time. Influences of uncertainty associated with prolonged construction projects will be delayed. All project that takes time, with this, it can go a long way to reduce it. Recommendation: increase funding so that research activities will continue. Technical know-how should also be made. Inclusion of alternative building material should have a code, because most of this alternative building material, we don't have a standard to back it up. So the use of the alternative building materials is looking as if it does not meet the standard requirement because we don't have standard to go by it. Government should promote the use of locally available materials by coming up with a policy, and there is a need for more awareness in terms of campaign. So the next thing is, what is the way forward? The way forward are three things. Encouragement towards using, in line with Presidential Order number 5, local content. We have them. We are not going elsewhere to get them. The local content are available. All we need to do is what? To key in. When we key in, it will be made available. Increase effort in research and development. We cannot be talking about something old. We need research gradually to continue to improve. Without research, we will continue to look backward. Last but not the least, funding. Without money, nothing good comes easy. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Very, very educative. Very, very. This is more than a university. Well, thank you, sir. A professor has spoken, so I'm not too surprised. In-depth knowledge. A lot of these things I didn't know about with all my plenty researches. Thank you very much, sir. And I would like to say that concerning the issue of adopting, the reason we approach NIBRI is because of the project we are doing and we want to adopt. We are aware that NIBRI has been doing a lot, even though I didn't know the details, and we've been trying to reach NIBRI for quite a while. And thank God that we eventually gotten to meet you, and there's a lot to adopt. And we also see how we can push for standardization processes and to see how we can adopt them into codes. And so that would be with the professional bodies. It's a course that is it's a good course to run, and I'm sure with time we'll be able to adopt some of them that we can use. Thank you very much, sir. So I'd like to put, we have two more, sir. No, we will take the questions. Now I want to take all the presentations together so we can. Yes. No, it's together. It's together. It's all the presentations are linked. So the questions, no, sorry, please. You will see that the presentations are linked. I'm conscious of the commissioner and I want him to see this because they are all linked. Please, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, please let me have that slide. Now, good enough, we have, like we said before, we had as an organization come up with a very, very ambitious project to deliver 300,000 homes in Edo State over a 10-year period. And we are looking at materials like our professor just presented, because we're looking at clay, we're looking at a Nigerian-made building. We're looking at materials that are locally sourced within the environment, and thank God now we have found that there are even more than we thought. So please let's see that, and so we can take the questions, examine them together. Just slide through. They didn't have time to extract them, so just slide through. Thank you. Thank you, just slide through. Okay, so this is a story building. This building, for instance, is on half a plot. Now we talked about the price of land and all of that. This building is eight duplexes, 8 3-bedroom duplexes on half a plot of land. Quickly go through this. Okay, so this is how they look. This is how it looks essentially. Just slide through, just keep sliding through. There's really no time. Just slide through, slide through. Okay. So you can put up the next one. Just slide through this and put on the next one. This is the duplex format. For those who like to live on multi-level, this is low-cost housing. It's all done in materials, like you have said, brick and a lot of other materials. We've been exploring the use of bamboo. When you mentioned bamboo, I was doing like this behind, because we've been exploring bamboo with IMBA, with the International Bamboo and Rattan Association. We've been exploring the use of bamboo and trying to get specialist bamboo users across the world. In Europe right now, in Germany and in Holland, there's what you call grow your own steel. It's a movement, grow your own steel, where steel is being replaced totally, not even partially, like you said, totally by bamboo. So and I'm glad that NIBRI is already doing that, so we can just partner with NIMBA more and grow that. They are supposed to be here, but we couldn't conclude the logistics, so they're unable to come for this program. Okay, so slide on this one now. This is the bungalow version. So things like that. You talked about people wanting class. So we have to make the buildings look very lovely, even though they are going to be in clay. Now, when we are done with this entire session, as many of us that can spare the time, we'll go out to the MOA site, the museum being done by the government. So we see what we're talking about. This same material is being used as the envelope of the museum. It's bulletproof. The material is just interesting, and it's laterite. Okay, so we just had, you can go to about the last one where we have the picture big, so we see where we have a larger photo of it. The photo. Just keep going. Okay, no, go back to the something like this. So it looks nice, it looks interesting, but this is mud. Yes, this is compressed laterite. Two materials we're looking at using: compressed laterite and interlocking. both of them. Compressed laterite takes more time, and that's the rammed earth. Rammed earth is what's being used for the museum, rammed earth. But there's rammed earth, and then there's interlocking. And then the facial quality differs. So if a client would prefer painted surface, it can be painted. If a client would prefer the brick surface, the other building beside is a brick surface. So things like that. Now this, the project we're talking about, which is still being developed, is supposed to be an agro-industrial estate. Each estate is an agro-industrial new town. So if you look at the building, you see something that looks like a wall or a fence. It's not a wall or a fence. It's actually a fish pond. So every house is producing something that increases the economic power of that family. Now, what we are still designing, which is our research, is how we can have a basement poultry because of the sensitivity of poultry. So actually, at this part where you have the lawn, if you look at the details I went ahead, there's a poultry in the basement. So if you come into this house, you know there's a poultry because there's a poultry in the basement there. So there's a basement poultry and a garden on top of the pavement poultry, and then a fishery. So each house has a fishery, has a poultry that's increasing the power, the economic power of the person in that house. This is tied to the cooperative. You know, when we say that we give you your house and you're not paying for it. So you're not paying for the house, you only pay for your insurance. And then you start living in the house, and then you're increasing in your wealth because you don't necessarily have to depend on your salary because you already have other sources of income. We've also been networking with what do you call them now? Off-takers. So if we have an estate of 1,000 people and each house is producing some fish and some poultry, that is huge harvest that a company who wants to process have a huge raw material base to process. That becomes income for the household because they don't need to look for who to buy their fish or who to buy their products because there's a company who already needs more than that. So he's off-taking everything. That makes them not to bother about looking. They're not distracted. So if you're a civil servant, for instance, and you have something like this, you don't need to be bothered about what is there. All you need to do is to know you just get your income at the end of every month. Okay, I didn't talk about that. There are these working with Ministry of Agric. Unfortunately, our commissioner is not here. Working with the Ministry of Agric, Edo State Ministry of Agric. There are agricultural partners who want to. They've been looking for this opportunity. They didn't have. And the commissioner was like, there's nothing like that in Edo State. So when we came up with this idea, they said, wow, these guys have been on our neck. What they do is that they take your land, they farm it, and they give you a fixed amount every month. So you have an income. So what they do is, for instance, you see these poultries, they'll run all of them. You see the fishery, they'll run all of them. They pay you a fixed amount every month. So you don't need to bother. You go to your work. You don't need to bother that you have a farm. Somebody's running it. Whether he makes interest or loss is not your business. He gives you a fixed amount every month. So that happens. Then this is so eventually, again, for the cooperative, which I want to present again because we have it's like a different house this time. For the cooperative now, the cooperative is functioning. This is tying up into the cooperative. The entire landscape, the entire landmass where the housing town, the new town is, belongs to the cooperative. Doesn't belong to the developer. So within the cooperative, there are, between the landmass, within the new town, there are layouts. There are spaces for hospitals. All those designs have been done, but we can't show all of them here, no time. The hospital, the school, and all of that, the transport system that takes them from wherever the estate is to Ring Road. We're not depending on people in town. That is, there's an estate shuttle, and it does not wait for it to be full. It leaves at specific hours. If it's leave at 1 o'clock and there's only one person in the bus, it leaves. The whole idea is to create confidence in the system so that people can stop using their cars and use the transport system. When you know that at this time the bus will leave, you will leave. That also means that for the first probably 3 to 4 years, that transport system may not make profit. Yes. But after then, it will make money like nonsense. That's the idea. Okay, so let's move to the last slide, which is the one for the cooperative now. So we had presented about 2 days ago about how the issue of people's affordability, which is a major challenge with housing, affordability. So what we came up with is a cooperative system having studied the cooperative system, and I think the one that excited me most is the biggest cooperative, which is the Co-op Group of the UK. They are the oldest, they're about 200 years old. So we tried using that. We call it Edo Mass Housing. Some people say I'm being partial, I should do it for the whole of Nigeria, but they say charity begins at home, so I have to do it here first. So scroll up. So we're trying to see how we can. So the basic features are that it's sorry, let me just pick a few things. I can't read everything. Now, everybody who earns at least 40,000 naira a month, the target is 40,000 and above. So we use minimum wage. So if you earn 40,000 naira, you can get a house. It's not dream, it's not hoax, it's real. If you earn 40,000 naira, you can get a house. And you have up to 30 years to pay up. And you don't have to wait for the house to finish paying for the house before you move in. You move in before you start paying. So you live in the house. You live, it's rent to own. So you move into the house. From the first month you moved into the house, you start paying. And you don't start paying from your pocket. You start paying from your cooperative revenue. So, but you'll be paying from your pocket your insurance. So the cooperative is structured in such a way that it pays for you, it buys the house for you, and also creates more income for you. So after a few years, each individual becomes not a poor person, becomes a wealthy person. There's another community in China that I studied. It's called the wealthiest, I'll share it with you, sir. It's called the wealthiest village in the world. Every person there is a multimillionaire. Every person. Several years ago, about 15 years or more ago, it was a very poor rice farm village. They were very poor until one of the wards and the councillors brought up this idea that instead of each person having their own farm, doing their own thing, let everybody put all their lands together into one pool, put all their resources together into one pool, and then demarcate the community into where people live, where this is done, where that is done, and then create land that they can give to investors to come and create factories, come and do this. But all of this land that is given to them is not given to them for dash, and it's not sold to them. Instead, it is given to them in exchange of shares in their company. So don't pay us cash. For every business profit we make out of this community, we want so and so. So, till thy kingdom come, every household in that community earns from all the factories, minus what they earn on other things that they do. So as it is now, the community is having a little bit of a problem. You know, the problem is nobody's working. Nobody's working. Everybody is so wealthy, including little children, that nobody's working. So they now import people from outside to work. Everybody that works in that community are strangers. So, you see, when I say we can do a lot of these things if we can just come together, if we can just break the barriers and just do things together. I gave an example 2 days ago. I said, what your 100,000 cannot do for you, if 1 million of us put our 100,000 together, that's 100 billion. Imagine what 100 billion can do for us. So we don't need to raise funds. Do you see that? There's no need to raise funds from anywhere. No need to look for loan from anywhere. The money is in the hands of Nigerians. The money we need to do whatever we want to do is in our pockets. It's just that it is scattered. Because it's scattered, can't do anything, can't achieve anything. But once we can bring it together, there's so much that we can do. So much. Now, I would also like to say that it's sounding very ingenious, sounding as if Cecilia has invented something. I didn't invent anything. This is happening in Europe already. There are housing co-ops everywhere. There are housing co-ops in Europe, there are housing co-ops in America, there are housing co-ops everywhere. It's just that we haven't used the idea of housing co-ops. So this is like will I say, an example, and we hope that with what we are doing, we can create more housing co-ops. And then we can create them in such a way that we can run effectively. Now, we know that Nigeria has several cooperatives. Edo State alone has about 50,000 or more cooperatives. Yes, about over 50,000 cooperatives. But are we seeing any real impact? Apart from the fact that if you need some more money, you can borrow and use. You can a few patchy things that don't make us really comfortable. But the cooperatives can really do a lot more. So the other thing, you can scroll up a bit. Anybody now, please let me go back there. Go back there. So we have it. For now, we are running this within Edo State. So anybody from anywhere in the world who wants to get a property in Edo State, it covers every property. All developers in Edo State are covered. Any house built in Edo State, as far as it's no more than 50 million, is covered. So if you want a house of 50 million, it's affordable. That's what we're saying. So it all depends on the structure, because there's structured payment. Okay, so we're also looking at the buildings being off grid. So we're working with solar people to see how we can ensure the buildings are off grid so that every house has electricity. And then we now have NEPA as standby instead of having generator or solar as standby. So large scale production of these houses also brings down the cost, because when you build houses in small quantities, you have a higher cost. But if they're in larger quantities, you have the advantage of scale, and then you can cut down costs. Okay, so you can scroll. Okay, all this we already know. Over 70, we already know. Okay, this is last year's conference. So the solution is this. Okay, so the solution, I've already talked about it, is rent to own. So skip up. Cooperative skip up, I've said this already. And this was the former Commissioner of Works and Housing talking about how, former minister, sorry, talking about how cooperatives have helped in housing delivery in Abuja. You can play it if it will play. Okay, don't worry, skip up. He basically said that they've achieved quite an amount of housing delivery in Abuja within his tenure because they collaborated with cooperatives. And he also said that a number of cooperatives, a number of developers develop houses without finding out what the people want. What we did, I've disturbed this man a lot in his office. We did a research from last year into this year, office to office, ministry to ministry, market to market, all around, banks to banks, finding out what people want, what people need. We took surveys to know exactly what they want, how they want it, what can they afford, and things like that. So skip. Okay, you can play that a bit. Will it play? Okay, don't worry. Skip. I'm very conscious that I have a skip. Skip. These are presentations. Skip. Okay, go back to that next slide. Okay, we've passed this. Okay, all this about the cooperative, just skip. We say that in a summary. Okay, so this is where I want to go to, which was what we're trying to present. So we came up with, we've developed a web app that runs the cooperative, that takes the processes, that takes the entire process off human hands, so that nobody will look at your face and say, no, we won't give you this, or we'll delay your own. So you can apply from your bedroom, your toilet, anywhere you are if you went to Yankari Game Reserve, you can apply for your house there. You can choose what you want. And once you qualify, the system will say you qualify and you get it. If who has ever used any fintech app? If you've ever used any fintech app, you don't need to call anybody or talk to anybody. If you're applying for a loan, you apply for the loan, and then you get it within a few minutes, sometimes under 24 hours in your bank account. That's the kind of thing we're using, which reduces the number of manpower involved in the process, reduces the cost of the entire process. And so as people are interested, they just go there from anywhere in the world. You want to buy real estate here, you can buy the real estate. So we expect that whoever wants to sell a property will enlist their property for sale. Anybody that wants to sell, just enlist it. So what we do is you enlist, we verify to be sure that the properties exist and they're authentic with authentic papers, then we activate it. So people can now see it, and if they desire it, they can pick. Okay, so this is a typical dashboard, for instance, for every client, which shows your photograph, your details, and this is like transactions. Every transaction you made, everything you pay. If you pay anything, you see it. If you're also withdrawing, you see it. If you applied for money, you see it. Whatever payments you're making. So it's fully automated, and it's also linked with a shopping app like Jumia, which is also owned by the cooperative. The shopping app is the first investment of the cooperative. And the reason we did that is because the shopping app has very little capital, needs very little capital to run. And because it's buying and selling, it brings income into the cooperative fast and daily. And then every member of the cooperative is mandated to shop on the cooperative shop site, because you want to benefit from something. If you open a shop, for instance, and instead of you to buy from your shop, you are going to buy from the market, who are you deceiving? So if it's yours, then you should shop from it. At the end of the day, you are turning over money into the cooperative. It is that turnover that now increases. So the cooperative does not need marketing, because the people using the cooperative are the first clientele. So if the cooperative has 1,000 people, for instance, that's already a huge market for them. And naturally, because it's an open shopping site, other people that feel the prices are good will also shop there, isn't it? Good. So it's already a big market for them. So they don't need to make effort to the cooperative leadership looking, how do we put this thing so that people will know that it exists? There's already a market for it. So it grows. And then there are other investments, which is guided by the board. Right now, we have a board for it. We have an advisory board. We're yet to have a full board. The advisory board for now is because we gave them the entire process to review, to be sure it conforms to the cooperative laws, because there are cooperative laws. So they reviewed the bylaws, because there's also bylaws and the processes to be sure that it works. What we put there, which they rejected, was the percentage interest for borrowing. We felt that the whole thing is a charity thing, so that interest should not be much. So we put 2% interest rates monthly, and the board kicked against it, that it cannot work because of the inflation rates in Nigeria. Yes, they are giving themselves money, but it has to be profitable for the cooperative so that it can keep turning. So they insisted on a minimum of 5%. So that's what we're using now, as 5%. So see if you can scroll. So then there are some people will say, I have a house, I don't need a house. But we also created the opportunity for investors. Some people just want to invest because this thing looks like it's good business. Well, it came up because we had those issues. Some were like, Madam, this thing is good, but I don't need this house. I want to invest. Can I? So we had to now go back and create an investment opportunity. Instead of coming as somebody who's buying a house, you can come as somebody who's investing. You can come as both. You can be somebody who's buying a house, and then you can also invest. And then after a while, we got some persons to do some work in the office, and then they asked if they can be affiliates. I didn't think of affiliates. So we now had to create affiliate platform. So as a member of the cooperative, you can be an affiliate, and then you can earn money from being an affiliate. You can also, people who are not members of the cooperative can come on board and log in, register as affiliates. For every person they bring into the cooperative, they earn. For every shopping they bring into the cooperative, they earn. So we just made it as flexible as possible so different people can use it to get their different needs met. And that is the summary of that presentation. I needed to tie it with all that we have done so we can take the questions together. Thank you very much. So at this point, I would like us to, if you don't mind, for the purpose of the recording and the people asking questions, I would like to call a few persons up here so we can just take the questions together, if you don't mind. So I will first of all call you, sir, our DG, to kindly step up to the podium. Thank you, sir. I would like you, commissioners, Commissioner, Honorable Commissioner, sir, please step up the podium. Thank you. Architect Odia, please kindly step up the podium. Thank you very much. Who else is going to join us on the podium? TPL please kindly go up the podium. Thank you, sir. And who else will join that now? Architect, ma? Yes. Architect, please join the podium. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. I don't need to be on the podium. I'll be standing by the side. Any question that comes to me, I would answer. Okay, thank you. So the questions can come up now, please. Yes, sir.
Please, all protocols observed. I want to appreciate the Honorable Commissioner for his presence here. It has given us a boost. And the DG Nibri, my question is actually for you. By the grace of God, I'm a pioneer in real estate in Edo State. I actually have the first privately owned housing estate in Edo State. And currently, the project is ongoing. My name is Mr. Chris Ebi, if you don't mind. Managing Director of Brooklyn Property and Investment Limited, developers of Goshen Garden City, Benin. My question is this. We talked about, of course, we are presently work is ongoing in the estate, and we're working on the roads, the internal roads as it were, and I had plans to use to asphalt. We're doing the drainages now. So I want to find out what's the cost of interlock kilometer of road. If we can be available for us, we can look at it vis-a-vis the asphalt. Or maybe you have asphalt too. Your asphalt too. Maybe we can look at both of them. The paving stones, that's interlocking stones, and the asphalt. If you can give us a figure now, it will be fine. But if not, if we can leave a contact where you can reach us, so that I like to compliment your efforts. In fact, you took me aback to see that. Look, we can really, if we sit down, it's just that we need to get things right in this country. People can look inwards. You know, when I started my project, it's been about 14 years ago now. In fact, I was on television in 2000, and somebody called me. It was a live program on ITV, and somebody called me on live and said, "You want to build an estate in Benin? Nobody has ever built an estate in Benin." And I told the person, "Well, you have met the wrong person. This man talking to you will build the estate, and by the grace of God, the estate is on. It's functional. It's there. We are doing houses, and so please, if you can have an idea, yes, if you are fine, thank you."
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I don't know. We have not done that of costing for 1 kilometer. But what I know is that the road always have a curb by the edges. There will be a laterite walk on it, because a kilometer road is just an abstract thing. You need to look at the topography first. You need to do the artworks. When you finish the artwork, if possible, do the drainages at the edges. Then you look at the space in terms of length and breadth where you apply the paving stones. I don't know. Are you talking about the surface where the paving stones will be applied, or are you asking of the entire
No,
laterite?
I think the question might be redirected. If you don't mind, let me try and rephrase it. What's the
Do you
cost per
understand?
square meter?
Okay. No, you talk about
Yes,
the
if you
entire.
have the cost per square meter, then you
Yes.
can prorate it.
So are you saying that you have finished in all the preparatory thing? Just you have done your drains. All you want is a. So I think very soon But I think what I have was start of 2021 or so. But this is my director, consultancy and extension services, Mr. Daniel Makava. Get his number immediately when we go there, because the price of cement goes up. We have to compete with the real situation on ground so that we don't give you a value that is less. But one thing for sure, the paving stones is very thick and it can carry all the HA loading. Sorry, when I mean 120 kilonewtons, normal simple vehicles, it can take very well comfortably. It has been tested in the lab. But the abnormal loading, trailer, field, we have not tried that on it because it's an abnormal loading on the estate. But very soon, within 2-3 days, when we go back, it's going to get back to you to give you the real cost of the work.
Thank you very much, sir. Question.
Sorry, Prof. Director, I wanted to actually ask you for something. You spoke about having your office in Ondo. It's not by mistake that you're in Benin. Oh, it's Ogun. It's not by mistake you're in Benin. Why not begin to think of starting your office in Benin tomorrow? Not even next year, but tomorrow. Because I know you have a lot of potentials in Benin. If you will make an arrangement and meet Mr. Governor, you don't need to be going to federal for anything. You see, most of these innovations, you will see them, and he will be able to project you seriously. That's what I wanted to suggest a little bit. Then I now go further to, you spoke about using bamboo. Bamboo, it's not a new thing, as a matter of fact. If you go to some of the areas in the North now, you will still see the houses built 60, 70 years with those stuff. They are still standing strong, unshakable, even stronger than the ones you use bricks to do. But my fear now is this. For those who are experienced and who are in the industry, the building industry, they will agree with me that we are having challenges now on being able to get the right materials, specifically. The woods that they use now, they are premature woods because there's no replacement. And when you use a wood to construct or build, in the next one year, the wood begin to fail. And these are the problem we have now. Is there the right type of bamboo that you use? Because you are speaking of something that need to do with strength of material, and you are using a wood. I know the strength of wood, bamboo and the steel, they are not the same thing. So you want to use it to form a column to carry weight. I don't know if there are any particular standard of bamboo that you use in order to do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, let me respond to his first questions. Benin is in South-South. NIBRI is a federal government agency that has its headquarters in Abuja, with our research office on 79 hectares of land in Ota, opposite the Covenant University. And in each of the geopolitical zone, we have a zonal office. We have a zonal office that addresses issues in South-South. We are presently in Uyo. We have an office in Uyo that's supposed to service all the offices, all challenges that has to do with South-South states. We have that of Southeast at Newi. We have that of Northwest in Kano, North Central in Plateau State in Jos, Northeast is in Gombe, while Southwest is at Ikoyi. So you can see in all these geopolitical zones, NIBRI has an office, standards with staff that are more than 30, 40, depending on the zone, and they are carried out research activities. And in each of these offices, we have machines and a lot of information you are looking for. When you go there, it will be made available for you. So I want to thank you for saying we should move the office from Uyo to Benin, maybe tomorrow for that matter. So we'll look at that with time. But I don't know if Uyo people will be happy to shift it from Uyo. Will Uyo people be happy? So that is that. So the next thing is about bamboo. I think what we did is to look for bamboo that is matured, not this green, the good one that has become brown. That is what we use. But the plant of the bamboo, I think the researchers are not directly involved being that, but obviously I'll go down and ask them if the bamboo has a particular species that was used. But I think what they used was a matured bamboo they used, and they didn't use the bamboo directly. I told you it was treated and before using it, and it's still standing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Permit me to add a little more.
Okay, you want to add to it?
Yes, I have been just a little more to the bamboo. I've been working on bamboo research since last year, and I've done quite a number of studies on it. And bamboo has been proven to have equal strength with steel. There are researches on it, not even from Africa, from Europe, from Germany, and from Holland. Bamboo has a 50-year lifespan, just like steel has a 50-year lifespan. Bamboo under test has shown to be stronger than steel, but there are species. Bamboo has about 265 different species. Now, there are some species that are just like this flower. There are some that will just grow into a little bush. But you have the ones that can grow up to about several stories high. The one that is the tallest is the one that doesn't bend. The tallest bamboo does not bend. It is straight as straight can be. It's usually the best for major steel works. They are used for bridge constructions. Bridge construction, not just the one you put on ground, bridge constructions, major structural elements. They are used to span very wide spans that ordinarily you will not want to use steel to span. Clear span. And it's used to a lot of things. Now, the Bamboo and Rattan Association, which is actually from Asia, has spread around the world. Their head office for Africa is in Ghana. And they've been very kind with information, and they are very willing to work with us. We actually moved ahead of ourselves. Sometimes, like Acteodia will tell me, Celia, sometimes you move ahead of yourself. I actually moved ahead of myself out of excitement to talk with the Ministry of Forestry to see how we can begin to cultivate bamboo so that we can conserve our forests. Because everything timber can do, bamboo can do, and even more. We have lost our forest to furniture. We need to keep the forest from being cut and need to start cultivating bamboo. Bamboo matures in 3 to 5 years. You have species that mature in 3 years, you have the ones that mature in 5 years, and on. So if we do 3 to 5 years, we can easily cut and plant, and bamboo doesn't need you to plant it. It spreads like wildfire. That you plant bamboo here, it will come out in different places. It is that annoying, but it's an advantage to reforestation. It protects the environment. It has a lot of advantages. It purifies water. The advantage of bamboo is actually enormous. So for us to be able to move from the forest into bamboo forest would take quite a number of years, and training, because our artisans now have to learn how to use bamboo to create a number of things. And Rattan is willing to teach. They are willing to come over. They are willing to have a research center here in Edo State. We've talked that far. So when we say we want a research, I'm a lecturer in University of Benin, so I have research base too. So I have my colleague here, and we're actually trying to set up a research center for affordable housing. And we would like to tie our navel to Nibri so that you know what my brother just said here now can still happen. So we can have a research center here. It doesn't have to be Nibri, but we're hiding under your shadow. Whatever you're doing, we'll have the extension of it here. It's happening here. Whatever technologies here are happening here. And then the university plus Nibri plus whatever we're doing will help these things to happen more locally here. And so so for bamboo is amazing. I look forward to Mba being here. They wanted to come in with experts from Asia and then there are people from Ghana. They're also willing to have training sessions where they'll be training people, and then people can move gradually over time from using regular timber into using bamboo. So I think there's also a factory that has shut down in Asaba. You see these bamboo tiles you mentioned, they were producing them for a while. Bamboo floor tiles, bamboo whatever. One ex-military man opened it with his retirement savings and nobody was buying. He ran the thing for a few years and shut down the factory. Last year, when I called him, when he wanted to start last year's edition, I called him, I was excited. But he said the company is all rustic. I said, no problem, sir. All we want to know is that something like this is already happening here. I want to be able to use this to bring investors to be able to partner with you to start it up again. So now that NIBRI is already doing something like that, he eventually said he has given up. I said, no problem, sir. I will leave you for now. I'm coming back. So we can actually revitalize these things. Thank God there's already a factory here. It's not far, Asaba. It's not far from here. It's about 45 minutes drive from here if the road is not bad. So I think we can revitalize these things. So let's take more questions. Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, the issue of the bamboo, I think there needs to be an enlightenment of these importers of the bamboo, because most of the bamboo today are being poached. They are being harvested mostly for decades.
Yes.
Yes. Before you know it, the whole forest is being depleted of this important resource. So there need to be more enlightenment on this.
Yeah, that is, it's a two-sided sword. Because when you create the enlightenment, people now know there's value in it. The price of bamboo will go up. Trust our brothers, our Nigerian brothers. So before we can actually really explore bamboo, we must first create a bamboo forest. Otherwise, it will not be an affordable material. Once people know that housing estate is coming, they are going to use bamboo for it. Bamboo will not sell for 700 naira again, no, at all. It will go to 2,000 naira. Because if you don't cut from my land, you will not see. They will now form bamboo as community association. All of them are now selling it 2,000. If you go there, they say, now so we they do them. If you go here, they say, now so we they do. Before we can do that, we must create it in excess so that we can manage the costs. So if we give ourselves, and the commission has been very, very kind. They've requested, so we're trying to do some kind of, but we need some partnerships. And because it's going to cost quite an amount, we need some partnerships. The government is willing to give land. They've given us that assurance that they want to give land right in, let us allocate. So we are now talking with the Ghanaian people, what size of land will make it economically viable. And they sent an entire business document. That is what I should have sat down to crack my head to produce. They sent an entire business document. What it takes, step by step, how much land, what is cost, what that costs, everything that I should know to be able to get it done for the PPP with government. They sent it. But the truth is, right now, in the course of trying to drive this whole idea of housing delivery, my hand is now into many things. So I need partners to come on board. And so this partner is the one that is driving this, not me. Yeah, this partner is the one that is driving this. So that's what I'm trying to do now. But I'm actually behind schedule, far behind schedule in following up on that particular process. So I think that we should just be open-minded, but we need to, before we close out on something, we need to create the availability so that it's sustainable. So once we've done maybe 5 years into this, then we can now start using it in full-fledged and encouraging people to use it. Also, the other thing they taught, the Imba people said, don't only create a bamboo forest, encourage bamboo farming. Encourage people to farm bamboo, like you're farming corn, like you're farming whatever. Even if it's one plot of land, farm bamboo. So that's what they are doing in Ghana. They are farming bamboo. They go to communities and teach them how to farm bamboo, train them, monitor them, just like you see at ADP, Agri Development Program. They will monitor them, ensure that their farm is successful because the construction company is coming to harvest. They are not looking for who to sell to. So that regulates the price and creates availability for sustainability. That sounds like a rhyme. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I guess we can take some more questions. Questions, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's just my interest actually is about neighboring dismantlable houses. I find it very interesting and I really want to know how it works. Bearing in mind there's no foundation, it has all the elements in place, roof and all that. So how does it really work? And you said it can be built within 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. And I want to believe the building materials are bamboo also. I really just brief explanation on how it works, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The Nibri dismantlable house is not a rocket science. We have done it several times. We started by a simple bungalow, 1 room. We went on to develop it to 2 bedroom. Then we went into 3 bedroom. Then we said, let's go up. We decided to make it a story building. And all this took us maybe, can I say 3-4 years? Every year we come with different model. It is a structure frame from steel work. The framework is steel. When the cost of steel is a bit friendly, it is very, very affordable. But last 2 years, there was a quantum jump in price of steel. That is what made it a little bit expensive. But the idea is that at inception, it is expensive. But when you look at the advantage of moving it 3-4 times without any of the item getting destroyed, you discover that it is economical. The idea is that there is no foundation excavation. All the strip foundation will be in form of a steel. The steel will be joined to nuts on a particular location. Maybe you are having a length times breadth of so direction. When the length is a bit longer, we spare it into 3, where the columns will be standing in form of steel. The down one, not that it's going to be excavated, the part foundation will be in form of a base, where the steel column will come from the base. But the entire foundation will be in form of a steel work like this, fabricated, where the blocks are laid in within. And the blocks will be there, interlocking with the members as it goes up. The first thing done is the framework, then the flooring of the decking, if you are going upstairs, then the roofing. All the roof material will be on the frame structure. So you can see the structure will be standing, and at the same time, it will be on a borrowed land because you did not do anything on the land. But the initial work will start at the beginning, fabrication work, everything you will fabricate it and place it. When it comes to assembling, it will just take you 3-4 days to have assembled it. But the fabrication aspect work can commence earlier to fabricate the parts and keep it. Then they will just see you within 3-4 days, a building is standing. But the idea of the back work, the bedroom work that has been done, it can be done earlier than that and kept in form of fabricated items. Are you with me? Then you can do it. So basically, we have done it. If you are interested, I think wouldn't mind. We didn't cost it because we don't want, because the price of steel keep on fluctuating. If I tell you the cost of 2 years, I don't know what will happen this year, but it can be done. If you want us to do it for you, you can still liaise with Director Consultancy. Mr. Daniel Makava is there. They are the department in charge of even erecting the structure. I think Makava, if you can do it, whatever. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you very much, sir. Do we have more questions? Yes.
We need here Commissioner. Commissioner, no talk yet too.
Thank you very much. I have a lot to talk about, but let me just say that my major worry is the artisans. We talked about the artisan training and all that. we find it very difficult to get artisans, workers who are in this field to build. And that's where you have most of the cost. The cost price is high. If you hire a private artisan to come and do a work for you in the estate, it tells you it's going to take us. Maybe now, maybe they are taking about 10,000, 12,000. Just they can't a block to set. But if we have a training group, like we have like an organization that have, like for your organization, you have people you have trained. They will be on salaries every month. Then when you have a job, you have a team already that you can push to sites. The cost will come down. But when you want to build, a building to be built, and I call a big layer or whatever to come and set some blocks for me and tells me it's going to take some amount, the cost goes up. I look at cost. I look at land. Talking about land buying off. I'm talking about privately now. Cost of land and area you are buying that land from. Talking about development. Talking about restriction, survey, and all those things. All those costs are coming into buildings. That is where you people come in to make it easier for the common man. But we are talking about in this conference, we talk generally. It's not everybody that will come to your estate. So we'll have to look at that aspect of it. How can we be able to solve this problem? Because now we don't have people that work for us. You find it difficult to get workers. Even the iron benders, you find difficult. It's difficult. So how can we be able to do this to make it right?
Who are you directing to? I think I'll give this to the audience because he has a functioning. Okay.
Yeah, we've noticed, we've identified it's a widespread challenge that good workers are very difficult to come by in the construction industry. That's why obviously we're importing a lot of workers from Benin Republic next door and Togo, even as far as Ghana, are here. So we've made it's not a problem that's going to be solved in an instant, which is why we've decided to invest in training young people. Many of these workers are even difficult to train once they're old. It's difficult to teach an old dog a new trick. So they're already conditioned to the way they were simply brought up with their own master artisans and so forth when they were younger. So we're trying to just make sure that there's a new breed of workers coming up. So which is why we invest quite a lot of time into training. So I think training is something that has to continue across board. Construction companies, generally the big ones, they train their own people. Julius Berger, CNC, you name them. Most of them have training schools where they train their people. They're already skilled before they even come and work with them, but they send them for further training. You mentioned something about having people on salaries, your own team. We have our own teams, but we don't put them on salary. Putting people on salaries, I think, is a very self-destructive thing in Nigeria. Once you are getting your salary, it's just a disincentive really to do good work. So we have tried both options. It's always better to pay people for the work they do and not, you don't put an artisan on a salary unless he's a supervisor or somebody who is sort of, in a high supervisory position. So those are my comments, as far as good workers are concerned. I do want to mention that I was very excited when you spoke about what you've been doing with the Bamboo Association and so forth and the Rattan people, because it answers your question. Because with them, you can set up tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon. I just want to ask, my interest is on the affordable houses. What the situation where my staff own a house in Benin here. I want to go with the type you did in Nasarawa. So I so much like it. In our side, I'm from Edo North. my village is close to Auchi Poly. Likewise, you are from Edo North. Your community is close to the Abusari University. That area, in my own community, we can give you free land. Maybe when you build like 100 houses, you give the community like 5 or 10 so that they too can sell and get their money. So I'm sure if you do that kind of thing in my community, you will see lecturer from Auchi Poly coming to patronize your company. In your own village, very close to Abu Salih University, you can see students coming to your community to come and patronize you. You can equally do similar things here. There are communities that still have large land in Benin here. You just to tell them, discuss with them, give me land for society. If you build, you can give them some number of houses. They can be getting their money from there. But if you, we have the raw material in Edo State too. Boa Cement is in Edo State, Dagote is in Edo State, Time Ceramic is in Benin here. The granite, gravel, if it's gravel you want to use, I have it in my village. There's large deposit of gravel. You understand? So you can source all the material you need from Edo State here, just to put it together and give them a PPT house so that many people can have a shelter. So if land is your issue, I can discuss with the commissioner for physical planning. Then from there we can take it up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner. John, get ready to come in. That's a very
That immediately we are done here, we'll take a tour. That will be the last activity for today. We'll take a tour to the MOA site to see the use of the material we're talking about.
One question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, in my ministry, we have 3 powerful rigs. You can visit our stand. You see the rig there. There's nowhere in Edo State cannot drink water. You understand? There's no beer in it. In fact, people from Benue, they rent our rig to Benue State to seek borehole in their places. You will just visit our stand. You will see the ring here. Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
can give you water for free.
Thank you very much for the invitation, sir. I mean, I find that very encouraging. Certainly, we do intend to come to Edo State, and we have actually been talking with Architect Cecilia because we find that sometimes the best way to come into a new place is to come with somebody who is already on ground, and But one of the things that we have learned over time is the necessity of ensuring that we know who we're building for. We have built estates 400 units, 500 units that many of them, somebody complained about empty houses in Abuja. I think it was the prof. And you'll be surprised that even our own low-cost housings, many of them are still empty today because of the lack of mortgage facilities to plug into. John, let me just call you. Give them just a snippet of some of our experiences in the market section.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I stand on the existing protocol. It's quite interesting, really, because I've been selling affordable houses for about 7 years now, going to 8, and I realized that most of those that we built for, in as much as they want those houses, many of them are not being realistic with what they want. They want the house in Maitama for the price of maybe 1 million. Yes, they want a house in Maitama for the price of 1 million. And when you look at their paycheck or when you look at their pay slip, you realize that most of these people earn around 120, 130, and what is recorded on their pay slip is even less than 30,000 naira because they've taken several loans, cooperative loans, this loan, that loan. And when they get the FMBN home renovation loan, the first thing they do with it is to buy a Toyota Corolla. So they get that loan, they go to the cooperative, they borrow another loan, then they go to the GTB bank app and the Access Bank, add it all up, and they buy Toyota Corolla. Wondering what is the challenge. And they keep telling you your houses, instead of them to actually come out and tell you what their problems are, they criticize the product that you're giving to them. But along the line, we eventually arrived at several solutions, and we had to take the risk at the management level, and it's working out. Instead of leaving the houses empty, we took the risk of a rent to own. So firstly, we explained to them, if you know you are qualified for FNBM mortgage, rather than waiting for 1 year, we put you on a rental plan. The moment you qualify, we have several mortgage banks that we work with. Once they approve that this particular person is being qualified, we've completed the documentation. We now have to pursue documentation on their behalf. So once they've completed the documentation, the mortgage bank will say, okay, John, go ahead, give this person the house. And this person is paying 30,000, 40,000 every month until his mortgage is out. Immediately they go there, because we know that within a year, their mortgage is out because the documentation is complete. Secondly, we designed a 1-year payment plan, a 2-year payment plan, and a 5-year payment plan with an interest rate that is flexible considering where we got or where we get our funding from. And that way we've been able to get substantial number of people into the houses. They are there with their families. They can go out in the morning, look around for their daily bread, while knowing that their wives and children are safe, are secure in a safe and secure environment. That's how much we've been able to make progress at the Millard Fuller Foundation.
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to add a little. I think that that's very good. Yes, you asked a question, but I want to make a contribution to what he said, which I think will help. Thank you. My Oga Kota Kota there wants to talk now. I've been trying to get him to say something. Okay. So, but let me just add this. I think that I think we need to, that's the reason, if you notice what I presented, there's no government factor inside. We need to be able to devise systems that does not involve the government process. Where the government provides it, thank God. If it's not provided, it shouldn't stop the process. For anything to be sustainable in Nigeria, it must not have government imprint. That government should not be part of the process. So because a government can be in office today and it's all good. What of the next officer, the next person? If the next person is not in favor of that, then the project dies. And we've seen that happen over and over again in Nigeria. That's why I would say that I would like to suggest that we adopt, because we are doing a lot in producing houses. I think we should adopt this cooperative system, or that doesn't necessarily depend on their incomes. Because like John said, a lot of them have borrowed from several places. That salary they're expecting at the end of the month cannot cover for what they have borrowed. Most of them. And it's not essentially their fault. It's just a survival thing. And it's that's why they say the salary, the take home cannot take them home. So you try and get here, try and get there, because the salary of the average Nigerian income earner cannot pay their children's school fees. We know the cost of school fees today. So a lot of the salary, if you use the full salary to even pay rent, cannot pay for a decent apartment. So when we say, so these are real challenges. That's why I say, if we must solve it, again, we cannot depend fully on the mortgage banks because they don't even have enough funds. We heard the talk 2 days ago when is it yesterday or 2 days ago? 2 days ago, yes, when the Federal Mortgage Bank was here and Architect Femi was here, what was the issue? Federal Mortgage Bank does not have enough resources to give mortgages. Doesn't have. So even when we say we are producing affordable houses, we produce 1 million affordable houses, we will not be stuck on queue, waiting for people to be able to get the mortgages bought so that they can now start paying the mortgages. So I did a little math. Edo State has approximately 400,000 housing deficit. If we say we want to solve that problem in 10 years, it means we have to produce 40,000 houses every year. Can we trust the Federal Mortgage Bank for that? No, we can't. So if it's not working, we need to rethink the process. And this is just a Edo State challenge. If we now prorate it for the entire Nigeria, Federal Mortgage Bank is totally handicapped. And the mortgage banks, the PMIs, primary mortgage institutions, are dependent on the Federal Mortgage Bank. So there isn't enough fund in the resource in these places to fund the mortgage process. So we have to rethink it. And rethinking it is self-dependence. So that those who go for mortgages, the actual mortgage process become fewer. That way our housing delivery system will function better because the load, the burden on the mortgage system has been drastically reduced. The self-help of Millard Fuller, that's his original method, is what will work best because the system didn't depend on mortgages. It depended on self-help. People coming together to helping people to get their houses done. So in this case now, it's a little bit more technical because we've now made it a cooperative and app and all of that. But I think that will be a better approach to it so that you can produce more. And then the method we're adopting is we are not selling homes. We don't sell the homes. The homes are allocated before they are built. So there's no house for sale. So between when you apply for the house and when you get your house, we have screened you, we have checked you, we have profiled you, and as a cooperative member, you're already earning income in the cooperative. So the system is not built to depend on your salary. It's not built to depend on government. It's built to depend on self-help, which is the motto of cooperative. The cooperative movement is a self-help movement, and it's a very powerful movement. So I said that just to encourage so that we don't feel, because when you say houses are there, nobody can get them, and then there are mortgages are not enough. It just makes this whole thing of housing delivery end on the shelf of there's no hope. Do you get? So if you go towards government end, you don't see where to pass. You go towards mortgage, you don't see, then where do we go? Self-help. Thank you. Yes, you have been wanting to say something.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, my question is actually twofold. I'm from Edo State Flood Erosion and Watershed Management Agency, head of HR and human and administration. Okay, the first question, it's from both Millard Fuller. I'm going to mix both with your presentation. We're talking about practicality, and a few of us joined the service recently, so we're trying to make sense of how it's going to profit. Being the head of HR, I have to battle with these questions every day. So I heard, I'm not sure, I think that
Mr. Odia.
Mr. Odia saying something about 40,000 people who have 40,000 and below.
Or below.
Yeah.
40,000 naira.
Okay, that's about, okay, I can safely tell you that someone who, a level 13 staff, earns less than $2 per hour. Exactly. Okay, sorry. When we don't earn that much. So that it was actually encouraging when she gave her presentation to say, okay, 40,000 and above, because I would really beg to reconsider that, because part of the thing, coming from a private sector, part of the things that we enjoyed was you're working and the company is taking care of some things. We had, for example, we had a very good health insurance where you can be at work and everything is taken care of. So what I'm saying basically is, I'm not sure I understand how this system would work, but begging for practicality is, I think maybe in partnership with the government or with parastatals, you can come out, reach out, do a kind of workshop to get people to come from maybe representatives of every agency or MDA to get what it means, because this house thing is a really big issue. I'm telling you, it's a really big issue. Sorry, the second part of my question is more for Nibri. Yeah, we currently have an initiative in our agency called eTrash, where we gather plastics because it's we battle flood and erosion in the state. So we're trying. Part of the issues causing, in fact, major issues causing problems within the drainage, block drainages, plastics and all that. So where I heard you mentioning something about plastic being some of those materials we can recycle to do that. And we even have an app called Pick and Sell, which you can get plastics and get it in a particular location and get something stipend for doing that. All in the idea. So I think maybe you can point me to somebody. I know you have been pointing people to to talk about how we can, get these plastics, to see how it works, just to collaborate. So that's just about. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very fast. Mine is collaboration. Nibri is always and open to collaboration. Come with what you think you can offer. We'll sit down and discuss on a table. It will be a win-win situation for all of us, I believe. So we are ready to partner with you in terms of area of waste plastic, as you mentioned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And with regards to the question you asked about us, I'm not sure I fully understand it, but we were just looking at the demographics in Nigeria and how it affects us. In fact, things are so fluid. Okay, maybe you can. Okay, go ahead.
That the house cost about $2,000. But that was a few years, I think,
Yes, that's right.
a few years back. The dollar rate then was 300 and some, 200 and something. So if you do that, it doesn't so high. If you use the dollar rate now of 1,000, that's something else. I think that's why he was really worried.
Yeah.
Because it now looked like affordable house, this is hopeless. That's what it looks
It's an ongoing,
Yes.
it's an ongoing battle. And as I said, our work is not done. So we need to keep going down further.
It's at that time, 2018, 2019, that house was the craze of low cost. In short, everybody I posted the video of that house was like, it's not possible, it's not possible. But right now, if you see the dollar rate multiplied, you now say, wow, this is too expensive. But that's because of the dollar rate. So, but at that time, I think even up to 2 years ago, it was still a lot of excitement to hear about it. But right now, if you put that figure against, it's looking really awkward. And so, but like everyone here has said, it is work in progress. We have to keep working at beating the current circumstances. And I mentioned something 2 days ago that that's the reason why, as part of the investments in the cooperative, there's investment in stocks. And somebody raised a question. The volatility of the stock market, that it could crash, and then there's what happens. So I said, so when you look at the stock market, do a 100-year backwards study, you find out that the stock market is a circle. You never lose. You never lose. That's the reason why Warren Buffett remains a billionaire. You never lose if you are in the stock market. It will crash and you will only lose your money, you will go negative. But give it about a year or so, it will start rising again. The stock market goes like this. And that cycle is approximately 8 to 10 years. So once you understand that, you now know what percentage of your income to keep throwing there, because it keeps growing. It never comes down as low as it was before. This is how it goes. This is how it goes. When you say it crashes, that crash is still far higher than the value it was when you bought it. The stock market keeps going like this. Sometimes to go like this and rise again. It keeps going like that. The stock market is never a loss. One of the tricks of doing stocks is, if you want to really do stocks big time and get really, really wealthy with stocks, you don't sell. Never sell. When the stocks crash and when the stocks go high, you use your stocks as collateral and borrow bank money and buy more stocks. and leave it to rise. And that is done when the stocks is lowest. When the stocks start rising, you get a lot of value. And I said the other day, and I'll repeat it again, that's the reason Warren Buffett is the largest shareholder in Coca-Cola. He was not there when it was founded. He's the largest shareholder in a lot of multinational companies. Yes. So I said, so that is proof. This is just one out of many. That is proof that the stock market is a safe investment place. But it's not something that you use to go to market every day. It's something that keeps your wealth in place. So I think when we understand this, then we diversify and help ensure that what we are trying to build is sustainable and we can depend on it. I think that will help us to float. I often say that the banks that we think are giants are thriving on the monies we are saving in the bank. That's what they're using to do business every day. The monies you go and deposit, the money you go, oh, I'm keeping my money. They are trading with it every day and they're making a lot of money from it. It's the same thing. But what I notice, most cooperatives don't trade with their money. At best, they'll just open one small supermarket, do one small thing. They don't do much. There isn't much of investment in cooperatives. If cooperatives can actually invest and where they don't know, get consultants that can guide them in investment, cooperatives are a huge source of comfort for people. Thank you.
I think the issue I want to throw light on is the issue of government, whether government is participating, or what he meant was that maybe government is not giving out money, putting money into it. But that does not mean that government has interest in the program, because even before this conference, I'm sure some MDAs, ministries send their representative to attend this program. Even Minister of Fiscal Planning, Housing and Urban Development, they have a stand there. They have a stand where they are showcasing what they do and what they have done so far. So for the young man that asked that question, presently the state government has, at least policy-wise, has apathy or interest in this program, which is also complementing his own vision of having more new towns and all the rest around the state. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to take the last comment, and because the commissioner will need to be leaving us now. So the last comment is coming from physical planning. So let's.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Badmus Nojin from Ministry of Physical Planning. The professor, thank you very much for taking us around and making us to know that the local materials in our environment are very useful. The first time I read about bamboo, I never believed what I read. I said, probably those type of bamboo are not the type we can find in Africa. But thank you for making us to believe in ourselves. God bless you. Having said that, Madam, in your presentation, you made mention of somebody that is earning 40K can be hopeful of a building. And going by the ministry where I work, as we are joining the ministry, we believe that as you just come in, that time it was Ministry of Lands. Don't believe that since you are a staff of the ministry, they will just show you 50 by 100 somewhere or 100 by 100 somewhere. It is after you work for some time, you now know that no, you have to save and think outside the box for you to have a building. Madam, this 40K, for how long? It seems as if you are not including those people that have less than 10 years in the service. We should also look at that on one hand. Then secondly, I know that there are some estate developers, and what you also plan is more or less like estates. Ministry of Physical Planning, my commissioner is not here, but since I'm here, I should also represent the interest of my ministry. The Ministry of Physical Planning, we are the police of the environment. And we should be seen policing the environment very well. Whatever the developers want to do, our ministry should be partner in the areas of layout registrations and what have you, so that whatever project that is coming up, if we have our input, it will be properly guided, and we'll have a very good, and will not be conflicting interest. So on that note, that's why I said there is no way we can outrightly remove government from whatever we are doing. We are not saying government should determine whatever type of housing or the amount to be paid. No, but government should also be carried along. Then lastly, I also want to use it as an opportunity to inform our estate developers that are here that most of the estates that we are selling are not registered with the Ministry of Physical Planning. And lastly, man, this your project is a laudable one. And I also want to beg, we have too many governments or too many concentrations of activities along Sapele Road. We should also look at other areas in Benin so that we'll have a well spread of development. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. Everything you have said is very well noted. Every development in the state must be routed through the Ministry of Physical Planning to ensure that we are working with the law. And I think that was why we had what happened yesterday. I think we had a little challenge yesterday. Somebody made a presentation, and in the course of making that presentation, I gathered that the person was doing what did not have those documentations. So unfortunately, even though it was a bit embarrassing for him, we had to stop him so that this platform will not be used to encourage what is not right. And so we had to stop him from presenting, and we pleaded with him to kindly do what is right. And the platform is open once he has done that to come back and represent his project. So thank you very much for all this. So I would like, do we have a cameraman here that is going to take us? Where's the cameraman? To take a shot, please come this way. Camera woman. Yes, a camera woman that is around. So let's.
Country people, house matter don dey easy o. E don land for your doormat. Come here update as Neighborhood Turnkey Project Limited don bring ogbonge housing program wey dem dey call Shelter Conference 2023 second edition. You dey struggle to build house, abi you dey find house you never get? Come see how you go fit take get house and even dey inside begin pay small small. But sha, the payment no go pass 30 years o. This one na real. Anybody wey him salary reach 40,000 and above go fit enjoy. Country people, house matter don dey easy o. E don land for your doormat. Come here update as Neighborhood Turnkey Project Limited don bring ogbonge housing program wey dem dey call Shelter Conference 2023 second edition. You dey struggle to build house, abi you dey find house you never get? Come see how you go fit take get house and even dey inside begin pay small small. But sha, the payment no go pass 30 years o. This one na real. Anybody wey him salary reach 40,000 and above go fit enjoy this package o. Come sabi how e go take work as all the different federal and state government ministries plus private companies wey get hand for house matter don dey on ground to discuss with you o. Venue for this conference na Teams Event Center 171 Sapele Road, Benin City. Time na 8 o'clock o. Country people, na only this Thursday and Friday remain o. No let this opportunity to get your own house pass you by o. This Thursday 28th and Friday 29th of this September na remain o. Country people, house matter don dey easy o. E don land for your doormat. Come here update as Neighborhood Turnkey Project Limited don bring ogbonge housing program wey dem dey call Shelter Conference 2023 second edition. You dey struggle to build house, abi you dey find house you never get? Come see how you go fit take get house and even dey inside begin pay small small. But sha, the payment no go pass 30 years o. This one na real. Anybody wey im salary reach 40,000 and above go fit enjoy this package o. Come sabi how e go take work as all the different federal and state government ministries plus private companies wey get hand for house matter don dey on ground to discuss with you o. Venue for this conference na Teams Event Center 171 Saple Road, Benin City. Time na 8 o'clock o. Country people, na only this Thursday and Friday remain o. No let this opportunity to get your own house pass you by o. This Thursday 28th and Friday 29th of this September na remain o. Country people, house matter don dey easy o. E don land for your doormat. Come here update as Neighborhood Turnkey Project Limited don bring ogbonge housing program wey dem dey call Shelter Conference 2023 second edition. You dey struggle to build house, abi you dey find house you never get? Come see how you go fit take get house and even dey inside begin pay small small. But sha, the payment no go pass 30 years o. This one na real. Anybody wey im salary reach 40,000 and above go fit enjoy this package o. Come sabi how e go take work as all the different federal and state government ministries plus private companies wey get hand for house matter don dey on ground to discuss with you o. Venue for this conference na Teams Event Center 171 Saple Road, Benin City. Time na 8 o'clock o. Country people, na only this Thursday and Friday remain o. No let this opportunity to get your own house pass you by o. This Thursday 28th and Friday 29th of this September na remain o. Country people, house matter don dey easy o. E don land for your doormat. Come here update as Neighborhood Turnkey Project Limited don bring ogbonge housing program wey dem dey call Shelter Conference 2023 second edition. You dey struggle to build house, abi you dey find house you never get? Come see how you go fit take get house and even dey inside begin pay small small. But sha, the payment no go pass 30 years o. This one na real. Anybody wey im salary reach 40,000 and above go fit enjoy this package o. Come sabi how e go take work as all the different federal and state government ministries plus private companies wey get hand for house matter don dey on ground to discuss with you o. Venue for this conference na Teams Event Center 171 Saple Road, Benin City. Time na 8 o'clock o. Country people, na only this Thursday and Friday remain o. No let this opportunity to get your own house